The following program is presented to you by The Collector's Cave. Visit www.thecollectorscave.com for all your sports memorabilia needs. And keep on the lookout for their upcoming autograph signings and meet and greets with your favorite Chicago sports athletes. Again, visit www.thecollectorscave.com for all your sports memorabilia needs. And also on Saturday, July 23rd at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 3434 South Halsted Street, you can have the opportunity to meet Paul Konerko of the world champion Chicago White Sox. Visit www.makesigningsfunagain.com and order your tickets now while they're still available. That's right. You can meet Paul Konerko next Saturday, July 23rd from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at Buffalo Wings and Rings on 3434 South Halsted Street. So make sure you order your tickets.
This is DLo Brown. You better recognize right here, right now, we're listening to Brags in the Stand, the best Bears coverage ever. Believe that.
Football season is upon us. What a beautiful thing. We're talking Bears. Let's go. The Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
I know what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
Design has to take at least 8 minutes to make. Look at that thing. Kick killer.
What a great sign that is. What if I told you 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of traffic?
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
Good claps, everybody. There you go.
You are ridiculous.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Braggs in the Stands. Holy, what is this?
Right, what?
Right.
Is this thing on? Is it working? Can you hear me okay?
Testing.
All right.
After
Wow.
a long hiatus this
Whoa.
summer, Braggs and Trey Tunes are back here on Braggs in the Stands. Yeah, like I said, we took a little time off from the in-home podcast. We did one on the road earlier this summer with Dustin Hermanson and Jose Contreras for our guys at the Collectors Cave. And as you saw earlier, Paul Canerico next Saturday. Trey and I are going to be there doing our thing, so we're excited for that. Look at how excited Trey is.
Right, yeah.
What was that move?
Wow.
What was that move you had right there?
Oh, the Rob Van Dam, we're gonna.
It was like some dance moves almost.
Oh no.
And I'm sorry,
We know Trey's got the moves. We know he's got the moves. So that's exciting in and of itself. So yeah, no, we're doing our thing. Bears football is right around the corner. So I'm excited to get this thing back, just jumpstart this whole thing. Off-season football talk, especially on Bears Twitter, can go into the deepest, darkest holes. And so, it's nice that we've got actual football that we can see with our very own eyes here.
Right.
Just under 10 days. It's 10 days away at this point. So I'm very excited to do this. So basically, let me set the stage because it's a very special show tonight. We got our good friend to the show, DLo Brown, coming on in just a few moments. He's been on here before with Trey and I. He's a big supporter of what we do here at Braggs in the Stands. There he is wearing the Fields Day shirt, which is something you can get on our Braggs in the Stands Teespring page, which is very cool that, DLo was, kind enough to support us in that way. Here's the Teespring store in all its glory. You can get a lot of different Braggs in the Stands apparel. There's the Cash Mooney shirts. We're going to have to get the Extend ARs off, but then, of course, the QB1 and Fields Day shirts, some nice Bears apparel, and we appreciate DLo. A wrestling legend in and of itself. One of my favorite pictures right here. We're going to have to bust this out. And then, of course, the Intercontinental Champion.
And European champion at the same time.
Yeah, European and Intercontinental Champion at the same time. We covered a little bit of that the last time he was on, but we showed so much wrestling video content that WWE just snatched our show and threw it away. You can find it on Facebook and YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, but on YouTube, no shot. The WWE is quick with the draw when it comes to copyright. I don't even know if I'm allowed to put those pictures up, Trey. So, like I said, setting the stage, DLo Brown getting ready to join us in just a few moments. He's a diehard Bears fan. I'll let him tell his story, but he was like, he's always wanted to talk Bears with me, which I am just amazed by, because this is, like I said, somebody I grew up watching in the glory days of WWF wrestling, and now he's still doing it for Impact and everything else. But, it's still kind of a surreal thing to be able to just, talk sports with DLo Brown, an icon in my eyes and, of course, your eyes. So I figured, hey, if we're going to talk Bears, we might as well bring on somebody that's actually seen this team this summer, because us as fans, we can kick it around and have our opinions. But until we see this team in the flesh at training camp, we're all just kind of kicking the tires on this thing. So I thought, bring in Zack Pearson from the Bear Report, and this is our guy here. I saw him at training camp last year. He covers the Bears, does a great job on the beat for thebearreport.com. So without further ado, let's do it. Bring in our guy, DLo Brown, back on Brags in the Stands. How are we doing tonight, DLo?
What's going on, gentlemen? Thank you for having me again. It's a pleasure to be on, Zach, Greg. I can't wait to talk about the beloved here.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited. Me and Trey are very excited to talk some Bears football.
And like Trey, hold on. That's Trey there.
Yeah, my guy Trey Tunes.
What's up, Doc? How you doing?
And so like I said, I wanted to bring on somebody because we can talk Bears, but why don't we ask some questions with a guy that's seen the Bears in the flesh at OTAs, at minicamp, and all the other voluntary workouts here this summer, covering the Bears for the Bear Report. Our guy, Zack Pearson. How we doing today, Zack?
Good. What's up, guys? Long time no talk, Greg. Trey, nice to meet you. DLo, I was going to come in and do like a really good entrance like you used to do, but I didn't want to embarrass myself.
It's okay. The beauty of the entrance is just do it the hell you want and everybody will love it. It's okay.
I know, man. I know. I grew up watching that, so I'm like, I can't even. I'll make a fool of myself if I even try.
DLo, before we start talking Bears with Zack and asking a question, who was your favorite guy that did his promos? Who was the one that you admired the most of promo work, hyping themselves up?
Well, I mean, that's a softball question. If you don't say The Rock, getting the fact that I stood next to him while he was cutting those great promos, then I don't know a promo from a hole in the wall. So it has to be The Rock. He's the best I've ever seen on the mic, just letting it fly and letting it, spitting it out. So definitely The Rock.
Yeah, the millions and millions watching around the world. And he did such a great job at the Super Bowl last year to get the party started. So he was in his, his groove, in his rhythm for that, for sure. So, let's get into our Bears rhythm here. And I'm going to let DLo start it out. Zack, this is kind of your segment. You cover the Bears for bearreport.com. You do a great job. And, like I said, we can talk about it as fans all day, but for you to give us an insider's perspective, I figured me, DLo, and Trey could ask you some of the questions that we want to know pertaining to the Bears, and then we'll scoot you on your way. You can go back to eating dinner with your wife, and then we can have a more sensible discussion about what's to come for the Bears. So, DLo, I'm going to let you start it off. Go ahead. Fire away.
Well, Greg, you said it best when you started this conversation out, like, it's only speculation and what we think is out there. The only thing I know for sure is I know Justin and that wide receiving core are putting the work in. And if that half that work translates to the field, that's what gets me excited. So what have you seen with Justin and the receiving core out in practice, out on the field?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is his relationship and friendship with like Darnell Mooney. I mean, those two are like attached to the hip. They are working nonstop. And, Mooney said it as well. And I think Justin's talked about it in press conferences. They're there, late, not even, just throwing. They're there like working out. And I have it on pretty good authority that they're hanging out outside of Hallis Hall as well, which is what you like to see. I know Fields hangs out with Mooney at his house all the time out there. And, with that, that's my biggest takeaway from it. In terms of the on-the-field stuff, I think kind of getting on the same page, because this is a new offense that they're installing. So there's going to be, mental mistakes. There's going to be, mistakes of a wide receiver not making the cut at the right time. But this was the time to make those mistakes. And every practice I've been to, I've seen them get better and better with that, kind of getting on the same page. Now, OTAs and minicamp, it's not like they're going to go out there and light it up and throw it all over the field. They're still installing the offense. But you want to see progress. And yeah, Fields had a bad day or two out there. A couple of wide receivers had a bad day or two out there. but it wasn't consistently bad days, which is good. I mean, there'd be a bad day, then a couple good days, maybe a bad day, and another good day, stuff like that. So my biggest takeaway so far has been just the relationship he's built with Mooney. The speed of the receivers is something else too. Velus Jones is quick, man. That dude is fast. And the other thing I would say is they're getting on the same page because they are installing right now. And, well, they were installing before, not right now, but getting kind of on that same page as they went along.
That's awesome to hear. I love hearing that they're building this chemistry. That's all football is. For anybody who's played it or watched it, it's doesn't matter. Talent, everyone's got talent out there, but it's that chemistry when you put guys together on the field and they're thinking the same thing at the same time.
Yep.
That's when greatness happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Trey, what do you got for Zack here?
Well, it's like, you pretty much hit every little question I had. It's like, because you want these teams to, because it's such a big unknown, with these guys, and you haven't seen them play together, and you want to be hopeful. So you try to grasp onto every little thing, but it really is about some people might downplay it and just say, "Oh, you're just grasping on to any kind of hope." But yeah, you do want to be friends and like the people that you play with, because you tend to play harder for people that you like and all of that stuff, and have a good locker room, and it's just such a big unknown, and it's like you want to be hopeful, but it's almost like a wait and see process. And it's good to hear that, with the new offense coming in, that you're going to make mistakes. There are going to be mistakes, but you want to see the growth and not the repetition of errors and stuff. So, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you see progress? Which I think is really important, is just continuing to get better and playing hard, because, like DLo pointed out, there's so much talent out there in the league. Everybody is a professional. That's how they made it to this point in their career. So you just got to see the effort and the things like timing and all of that happen. So yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard because during OTAs and the mini camp that they've had, the past couple of months, I always get asked that by people on podcasts and people, by my friends. Everyone's like, how do they look? How do they look? And I try to give them a warning. I'm like, there's going to be good. There's going to be bad. The thing you have to point out, they're not in pads. They're installing the offense. It's pretty much getting the basics of the offense down before training camp, where things definitely pick up. Now, the one day, I think it was myself and a bunch of other reporters, said Justin Fields had a bad day. It was Bears Twitter exploded. How dare you say that? I'm like, well, I saw it. It wasn't a good day, but that's okay. That is okay. There are quarterbacks that have bad days out in practice. And like you said, it just can't be bad days strung along throughout the entire thing. There were good days too. And it's not a narrative we're trying to make up or anything. We're not trying to trust me, good Bears make that's the best content. So the Bears are good, that's the best content. When they're bad, I don't make money or anything like that. People think that we make money when they're bad. It's no, it's not. When they're winning and they're good, that's what drives clicks and stuff. So in terms of the offense, it's hard to judge early on. But I will say, like I said, they did make strides. There is a low level of comfortness right now between him and his receivers. The offensive line is very tough to judge because they're not in pads during these. But you want to see that connection. You want that timing. All the great quarterbacks have that timing. Aaron Rodgers, plays for Green Bay, whatever. But the guy had perfect timing with Devontae Adams. Tom Brady with his receivers, perfect timing all the time. So this is where you kind of work on that and you make those strides there. And honestly, you want the bad days to happen in OTAs and off-season minicamp, because if it's happening throughout training camp, there's a serious problem. I don't think we're going to get to that point just yet.
I got one more negative topic point that I guess I got to hit on, because I'd rather talk about, what the positives are. I guess I might have a couple concerns, but as far as, feeding the trolls of, Bears Twitter or whoever, ESPN puts out, ESPN can be the biggest troll at times, but they put out a thing from a computer, simulation saying that Justin Fields is going to lead the league in interceptions this year. How much credence do you put into that? Do you buy it? Where is your thought process when you hear a headline like that?
I actually saw it right before I came on. I was reading a little bit about it. My first thought is, no way. I don't think he's going to lead the league in interceptions. I'd actually be more worried about the fumbles and the ball security. Like looking at a couple of his interceptions last year, I want to say at least 2 to 3 were probably tipped passes or balls bad at the line of scrimmage. They all count the same. I get it. But like the chances of that continuing to happen probably is very slim. If it does, then there's something wrong with his mechanics. He's changed his mechanics a little bit with the footwork and the arm angle. So I don't know. I don't put I wouldn't worry. I would tell Bears fans, don't worry. I think I'd be shocked if Justin Fields led the league in interceptions. Because he's going to tell you one of two things. Either his wide receivers aren't doing a good job of getting open and creating separation, or he's forcing the ball in a lot of bad spots, or he's just downright bad. And I don't think that third one is true. I think it would be more of the first two. I would just actually be more worried about the fumbles. I don't know the exact number of fumbles he had last year, recovered or what, but I was a little worried with the ball security, like where he was holding it, kind of, like Jay Cutler. Remember when he would just kind of hold that football out and it was just easy to strip? Kind of seems like Chicago, we have a problem with that. Like Mitch Trubisky kind of a little bit of a problem with it. Cutler's had a problem with it. But, yeah, I don't see it happening, man. I don't think Justin Fields is going to lead the league in interception. I think there are far worse quarterbacks in worse situations out there as well.
Yeah, I agree. The ball security is more – I mean, he had some last year that he recovered himself.
Yeah.
I can remember against the Niners, he put the spin cycle on Joey Bosa, made an amazing play to get out of the pocket when the line completely collapsed on him, rushes all the way to the sideline, and then right at the end he had it slapped out, but it rolled out of bounds harmlessly, so you don't think about it as a fan. But if the ball bounces the other way and stays in bounds, talking about a turnover in the red zone. So that's where I want to go, and then I'll kick it back to DLo. My biggest concern is the red zone. I think they're going to be able to move the chains between the 20s, but then when they get into the red zone, who is going to be their target? They just picked up N'Keal Harry, a big target. Is he going to make the team? You'd like to think so with the trade they made, but at the same time, he's behind the rest of the receiving core as far as chemistry and getting to know Justin Fields. The obvious guy is Cole Kmet, and that's who I want to know, because he's got to be their red zone guy, because everybody and their mothers knows the Bears are going to try to run the ball when they get in the red zone. So they're not going to be able to do it as successfully because of that, unless we have some red zone options for Justin Fields. And, he concerned me last year at times. He had his opportunities. Yes, Matt Nagy's system was all over the place as it could be. But right here, this is a catch you got to make, and he doesn't bring it down. You can question the ball placement, velocity of Justin Fields on his back shoulder, but it hits his hands. Cole Kmet needs to come down with that. Where are you at seeing what you're seeing from Cole Kmet in year 3 of this offense and year 2 with Justin Fields?
Yeah. Before we get to the Kmet part, I mean, you're right in the red zone. They were dead last in goal to goal last year, which is awful. And how many times did we see a drive get down to that inside the 10 and it would just stall? And then the one scream that was on Twitter was Matt Nagy running like 4 verts to the end zone, like 10 yards out, which is insane. In terms of Kmet, I mean, this is it. He has to. I feel like this is the make or break year. You pointed to that play right there. That's second round pick. You have to make that catch. And I think there was one against Green Bay his rookie year early on. It was kind of similar, just right through his hands in the end zone on a tight pass. So with Kmet, I mean, he's the number 1 tight end right now. This is his first year without Jimmy Graham. His first year, he was behind. Jesse James was here last year. Jesper Horsted was here last year. He's the guy. Now they brought in a couple of tight ends who are intriguing, but I think they're going to ask Cole Kmet to be that pass catching tight end and not really worry about the run blocking as much. Now he's the guys you see there. I mean, that's kind of like a short dump off security blanket for Justin Fields. I think that he's got almost that part down. Now it's kind of stretching the field. Can you take advantage in the middle? Can you beat the linebacker? If you're matched up on a safety or a defensive back, can you beat the safety? Can you beat the defensive back in the middle of the field? I'm not saying he has to go out and make 20, 30-yard receptions, but stretch the field a little bit, 15-yard gain, stuff like that. And, last year, I want to say he didn't have a touchdown last year at all. And they went to Jimmy Graham in the red zone when they could. He's going to have to be that red zone guy because I don't see anyone else. Maybe N'Keal Harry with his size, but if you don't have a red zone threat at tight end and someone that can make those plays, then your offense is going to struggle. I mean, look at these tight ends right now in the NFL, man. They are freak athletes. Like it's continuing to evolve. And I feel like the Bears got to have one of those guys in their offense. And man, I don't know if it's Kmet right now. He'd have to show me a lot to take that next step.
We're going to kick it over to DLo here. We got Capitalistic Czar in the chat saying, this is such an odd foursome, but I like weird. That's good because you're going to get a lot of weird at Bragg's in the stands. But DLo's as diehard a Bears fan as they come. So this foursome's fitting us just fine right now. DLo, go ahead and take it away.
So I know that the focus this offseason has been on the offense, but let's kick it over to the mainstay of what the Chicago Bears have been in my entire existence. What's that defense going to look like? Is Roquan going to be the dude in the middle, and is he going to lead that team to it? Be able to handle a short field on maybe a turnover or a fumble, or can they stand up to that goal line defense? Tell us about what's on the other side of the ball right now.
Yeah, we know Roquan's a stud. He's probably one of the more underrated linebackers that just does not get the respect he deserves. And, now going to the 4-3, they got Nicholas Morrow next to him. They got Joe Thomas and a couple other guys out there as well. Roquan is that leader of the defense. He's going to be the guy. It'll be interesting to see where they're going to line him up and play him. We'll know that in training camp because Matt Eberflus didn't want to commit to any of that in the offseason. But, you got Roquan. He's your guy. He's your guy in the middle right there. The defensive line is the one I'm not worried about, but that's the biggest key for me because you got a lot of new guys. We don't know if Robert Quinn is going to last the entire year or if he even is there during, to start. That's a storyline to watch. And if he's gone, Travis Gibson, you have him. He's got to prove he can take the next step again. Al-Quadin Muhammad is another guy. But in the middle, man, I mean, they're relying on Kairos Tonga as pretty much their nose, their big guy in the middle. And you have Justin Jones, who I like. I think he's a good signing on that interior. I think he's going to be really good from them. Obviously, they wanted Larry Ogunjobi. That didn't work out. And while people say Jones might be the second option, I think he's going to be good for them. That defensive line, if they can't get pressure, I'm going to be a little worried. I think Jalen Johnson's going to be fine. I actually think the back end of their defense is going to be better than people think. I think Eddie Jackson playing with a true strong safety in Jaquan Brisker, if he wins that job, is going to be fun to watch because Eddie Jackson's two best years were playing with Adrian Amos. And since then, they have not been able to find a guy like Amos. I mean, they've gone through Deshaun Gibson. They've gone through Clinton Dix, Deion Bush. DHC played a little back there as well. And Eddie Jackson just couldn't find it back there. I think having a good, strong safety who can play up in the box will be good for him. So, yeah, I mean, the best way to help out your secondary is pressure on the quarterback. And the worst way, to make everything worse is letting the quarterback sit back there and pick you apart. So they're going to have to get pressure. That's my one thing on this defensive line is where's the pressure going to come from if Robert Quinn's gone? We're going to find out pretty quick here soon enough.
I'm glad you pointed out pressure from the D-line and just how important the D-line is because your secondary is only as good as the pressure. And if there's pressure from the D-line, then the secondary can be opportunistic as opposed to defending and hopefully just covering zone. So hopefully we get some pressure from the D-line.
Yeah, and I mean, there's question marks. Like, I think Jalen Johnson's fine. I think Eddie Jackson will be fine. Brisker will be fine. Gordon really wasn't out there much during the OTAs and minicamp. We don't know exactly if it was for sure an injury. They wouldn't tell us. But other than that, I mean, you're going to have Thomas Grant, Tavon Young battling for the nickel. If Gordon doesn't win that second starting job out there, they might have a couple holes in that secondary. And like you said, man, you got to get that pressure. And when you're playing Aaron Rodgers and you're playing these really good quarterbacks, you got to get to them. Otherwise, they're going to burn you every time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
100%. Trey, what else you got for Zach? You got anything?
Yeah, well, I want the with the wide receiver acquisitions we got. Like, is it true that We have the last year's number 1 and number 2, like top rated blocking wide receivers.
Oh yeah, so I think that stat was like in November.
Yeah.
Was that like I think like PFF put it out in like November? It was like Brian Pringle and was it Harry that was the second?
Yeah, Nikhil Harry.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think that's why they brought him in. I saw that, and I saw a lot of people, like, oh, they're definitely outside run. Well, they're going to run an outside run, zone scheme. It's West Coast kind of based. Yeah, I don't know how much I read into that. I'd have to look actually and see if they were actually 1-2 to finish the year, because I want to say, I mean, if anyone knows, I want to say that was tweeted out in like October or November. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was like November.
Yeah, so it's almost like we got a goal line package with 2 huge wide receivers out there. So.
Yeah, it's like when you play Madden, you just want to just pack it in, and like you're going to run the ball, and you see the defense line up. It's like, yeah, you kind of want to fool them. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'd have to see about that tweet again.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's just so hard to, a lot of people are making predictions this time of year. That's what you do in the off season. It's fine. It can get a little tiresome, the daily, roundabout arguments. I get it. Some fans want to be optimistic because, life's short, and then others are going to be cynical. This team has a lot of holes. Depth is certainly a question. A lot of question marks. We don't know who's playing on any spot on the offensive line, it feels like, yet. Nothing's set in stone. What are your impressions of this team? Is it going to be like last year, 6 wins, or do you feel like the coaching change, the system change, maybe hopefully an attitude change is going to be enough for them to win those 3 or 4 games? All these games come down to 3 points, right? That's why the spread is always 3.5. So is there anything inside of you that feels like, hey, this team might be a surprise team? It might be a team, others don't want to play.
I'll say this. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. I've seen that kind of thrown out, that they'll be picking top 3. I think if that happens, something went horribly wrong. Justin Fields got hurt. Justin Fields is really bad. I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think, you look at their number on the over-under in wins. It was 7.5 to start, like right after the Super Bowl. It's 6.5 now, so it's definitely dropped 1, which tells me Vegas really does not like their odds. I think they can get to 7 wins. I think we're more towards last year, like a 6 to 7 win team, than we are of them being 1-2 win team, like dead last in the NFL, or them being a playoff contender. I don't think they're treating this year as, okay, we have a chance to make the playoffs. This is a rebuild. They're not going to come out and say it. They got to sell tickets. They got to sell jerseys and make fans believe. It's a rebuild. I think realistically, you're looking maybe next year, if everything goes right, like, okay, you can contend for a playoff spot. The year after, okay, we got the pieces. Let's go make a run at this. The NFL is one of those weird sports, man. Like, we always see a team go from dead last to first every single year in a division. So I won't say that they're the Bengals or anything like that. I think there's 2 totally different scenarios. I don't think they're going to be as bad as that narrative is out there, where they're going to be dead last. But I will say this. I already think they're a better coach team. I think right away, Matt Eberflus put that statement right away when he met the media. He said, I'm going to be a head coach. I'm not going to – this is not my defense. It's not my offense. I want to be a head coach. I think, it's not much to be better, because Matt Nagy left – I mean, they were god-awful last year. You really go back and look, man, they were bad.
Bad.
I don't think they're going to be that bad. If they are, then something is seriously wrong, and you're going to have to look at just another quarterback, more offense next year in the draft. So I'm going to say they're probably a 6 to 7 win team. I know it kind of sounds boring because that's the Vegas number. So I can see them getting to that 7 wins, because they got not an easy schedule. They got a relatively easy schedule.
I think here's the clip. I got it saved from one of our preseason or right when we signed these guys. And I think this might be the clip you're referencing.
You really like the offensive line depth of this draft, which honestly I took to mean that you didn't like the offensive line depth of this draft, but you were obviously being sincere. How much of a factor did that play in the fact that you guys chose to go defense at the top of the draft when so many people thought you may be eyeing offensive line earlier?
Yeah, we addressed that yesterday in terms of I'm an offensive line guy. Like, obviously, I would fire away at all of them if I could, but it really comes down to the preparation. It comes down to the board and where guys are valued. And this year, where we sat, to me, there were 2 good starting level defensive players. And I would have made a huge mistake for this organization to say, you know what, let's just leave them there, let someone else take them. And then we're going to go to offense where they're not on the same level. And then you're kicking yourself a year or 2 later when that guy's at an all-pro. But yeah, I just did what I needed at the time. Again, it comes back to discipline and doing things the right way, and I felt like that's going to be a decision that we're all happy with.
So a swing and a miss there was not the quote you were referencing, but talking about going for defensive backs over maybe wide receiver talent. Is that something you agreed with, or are you more down with that plan now that you've seen it? I know Kyler Gordon hasn't been out there.
I was fine with it when they did it. I mean, man, the talk you remember this, Greg. The talk last offseason was, what the heck are they doing at cornerback? Like, who's going to play defensive back? And like, can Tashawn Gibson be a fill-in at safety? So I was fine with it. I think they have a guy in Kyler Gordon who had a first-round grade by a lot of people. That's just too much to pass up. And then, you have a guy like Jaquan Brisker who, is a true strong safety that they think they're going to be 2 Pro Bowl guys, hopefully all pro guys, to solidify that defense. You can't build it all at once. You only have a certain amount of draft picks. And the way that, the roster that Pace inherited, man, it was pretty bad. I mean, there's a lot of polls. I'm sorry. There was dead money. There was aging veterans. And you saw that when they made the decision not to bring back Bilal Nichols, Akeem Hicks, Eddie Goldman, James Daniels, guys like that, Danny Trevathan. It's a rebuild. And I think when you can get that talent and those are your guys, you get them. We don't know the draft board. Like, we have no idea who was what, who was where. And when they went to Velus Jones, a lot of people are mad at that. I get it. I understand that one. But it's just, we just kind of have to trust them at this point.
Sure. I mean, and they should be allowed that, that benefit of the doubt until they prove us wrong.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to camp or watch them in games yet. And I think they should get this whole year to kind of lay the foundation before fans start jumping to conclusions. And, I know everyone wants to be the first to say something so they can say, I called it, and pull the receipt on the person that didn't call it. But, it takes time. And I think people need to show a little patience before they make, their judgments. Real quick, because I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but we didn't touch on the running game. Well, I'm not like my boys Phil and Shane. They keep you on for 2 hours till midnight. But, I do want to ask you about the run game, because that's what this team is going to be predicated around on the offensive side of the ball. David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert. I'm a big fan of Khalil Herbert. I was at camp last year, really impressed with him, telling people he was going to be a breakout player. And then when he got his opportunity, he really proved me right in that sense. I think he is capable of being a starting running back in this league. But I have no problem having both. David Montgomery is a monster, and if he can stay healthy, you've got a real 1-2 punch here. Transitioning into this Shanahan-style offense, we're going to see it on display on the other side of the field week 1 against the Niners. What are you seeing from David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, and what are your impressions about both guys in that regard?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a split than people think. I think Montgomery's going to be your number 1 running back. I think they're going to give Herbert a lot more carries. I really think they want to protect Justin Fields, not put him into long third down situations, run the football, play good defense, kind of that old school Chicago Bears style that we've seen for so many years, and then start to kind of open things up as Fields develops. But yeah, I could see him going with the 2 backs. I mean, I could see the split being somewhere like,
and look at the burst
70-30.
right there.
Yeah, he's quick too. I mean, we would know more about him if he didn't play at Kansas for 3 years. I mean, no offense to Kansas football, but I mean, it's like he played at Virginia Tech, and that I guess that really helped him. But yeah, I mean, when he filled in, Montgomery was out for 4 games last year.
Right.
He filled in well. So I do think we're going to see maybe that 70-30, 65-35 split. Maybe it goes more as the year goes on. I'll be curious to see if either of them get, more looks in the passing game. Because I think with a lack of weapons out there for Justin Fields, will they try to dump it off to the running backs more often than not? Where will they line these guys up? They don't have Tariq Cohen anymore. So they got to find something out of these running backs. And maybe Travis Ebner or Treston Ebner is a guy that can emerge as well as a third down back. But I think it's going to be a heavy dose of the run, especially early on in the season. I think they're
as
really
it should be.
Yep.
We went from one coach that once said, I didn't come here to run the I formation to this coaching staff that brings in a fullback.
Yeah.
So,
First time in how many years? 5-6 years?
Talk about a mentality difference, and I like what I'm seeing, so we shall see. DLo, Trey, do you guys have anything left for Zach before we cut him loose?
No, man. Zach, go have a good night.
Hey, I got Better Call Saul on the DVR, so that's
I'm watching that tonight.
There you
too.
go.
Yeah.
5 episodes left. 5 episodes.
Don't
left.
remind me, but it has been great. This last season has been fantastic.
Yeah, no, thanks guys. I really appreciate it. Nice meeting you, Trey. Nice meeting you, DLo.
Well, Zach, do you have any questions for DLo? I know because when I asked, I was like thinking to myself last night, DLo, and I was like, I want to ask a beat guy to come on so we can have a more sensible conversation about what's going on this offseason heading into training camp. And I was like, which beat reporter was definitely a wrestling fan growing up? And I had to go to my age demographic, and I figured Zach, there was a good possibility I texted him. He said, absolutely I am. Asked him if he wanted to come on, and he was really excited about it. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I have any specific questions. I guess, I'm more interested. Like, I hear the stories of like on the road and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are they really like as crazy and cool as I like picture them in my head? Like,
I will just put it like this without hopefully no statute of limitations pop up or getting someone in trouble. But
yeah, that's why I was kind of hesitant to ask about it.
So I'll gloss over it and just say it can be at times the real rock star life where you're living the dream that you always thought you could. You're out. Wherever you go, if you're in a city, people love you there, and it's like Chicago everywhere you go. There's someone always buying you a drink. You're never paying for dinner, but that comes from you gave that love and joy to people growing up, and they're just giving it back to you. So I mean, I love the fact that I made an impression on people's lives, and it's lasted this long. I mean, it's 20 years since I've been on TV, pretty much, and people still look at me like I just got left TV last week, so it's a pretty cool life. I'll take it any day of the week.
Who was like, I mean, your guy to like hang out with, like one of your good friends, maybe like overall.
Mark Henry and I were inseparable. We were joined at the hip. We were literally twins. We would go everywhere together. If you saw Mark 10 feet behind him, I was there somewhere signing an autograph or vice versa. So Mark was my dude. We drove together. We roomed together. We hung out together.
Did you see the video of his son deadlifting 600?
No, squatting 600 clean.
Yeah,
insane.
600 clean at 16. I actually text Mark. I was like, "Hey, what were you squatting at 16?" He goes, "I don't want to talk about it."
I guess my final one for you though. This is have you seen any of these the documentaries out? They're like Sunday nights.
Oh yeah, like the A&E ones that are there.
Yeah.
I actually got I've literally got the Goldberg one queued up that I'm going to watch tonight. So I enjoy it because I love taking people behind the curtain and showing the person behind the character, behind the superstar, showing everybody we're just people.
Yeah.
But we have to have an exceptional job. So I love those behind the scenes kind of thing, and they're really well done. They're
awesome.
really well done.
They are like their whole series that they do is like the Hidden Treasures one. I was glued.
All those the
man,
the Dark Side of the Rings. They're produced so well, and they give people just an insight into what we go through on sometimes on a day-to-day basis.
Puts the human behind the superhero, as Goldberg, said that he kind of felt like he was when he was at his peak, watching the Undertaker one. Zach talks about the stuff behind the scenes, and they really highlighted the Bone Streets crew, Godfather, Yokozuna, Rikishi, Henry, Henry Godwin. I'm sorry, and you obviously were mentored by the Godfather. So did they ever let you in to play Bones with them?
I played Bones with them, but I wasn't allowed in the crew. I was a visitor. I could circle like a satellite, but then there came time I had to get out of there. That was my crew right there. We hung together. We had our crew. So I got a hall pass because of Godfather, but I wouldn't. I couldn't be.
They just let you in to take your money, right?
Yeah, that was it. Take my money and for me to buy Jack Daniels.
Oh, Jack Daniels, that's the drink.
All right.
The Raw's War, man. That classic banner.
That look.
Oh, man.
It brings back memories of seeing it, right?
Oh, dude. I was actually I was actually at a Goodwill a couple weeks ago, and I found like a bunch of 90s wrestling shirts, and I just had to buy them because it just took me back.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Like the Stone Cold, the Goldberg, the Raw one. Oh, man. Like, if I could go back to that era, that'd be perfect, man.
Dude, I consider I lived a great life, but those 3 or 4 years, man, I could relive them. You put them on a loop, and I could relive them over and over and over again for the rest of my days and wouldn't care.
Man.
Well, Zach, I appreciate it. Real quick, Leo Factor in the chat. I don't want to ignore our listeners as they watch along. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. You know, you're a UNC North Carolina guy.
Yeah.
You talked about Daz Newsome here before on other podcasts. You know, quickly, you know, his chances of making the roster over some of these guys, especially with N'Keal Harry in there.
Yeah, I think he's got some work to do. And I thought he had work to do before N'Keal Harry got there. I mean, he's got veterans. He's got to pass up. And we got to remember, that's not the same coaching staff that drafted him. So that's kind of a disadvantage for him, too. I like Daz. I loved him at North Carolina. I thought he should have got a little shot earlier last year. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be an uphill battle for him in training camp.
Sure. Well, we end on Daz Newsome with you, Zach, but appreciate all your time. Glad I could connect you here with DLo, and we'll cut you loose. Say hi to your lovely wife and enjoy your night with Better Call Saul.
Yeah, you guys have a great night. I really appreciate you letting me come on, guys. Take it easy.
Appreciate you, Zach. We'll see you at camp. I'll be harassing you.
Feel free, man. See you guys.
Right. That is Zack Pearson from the Bear Report, bearreport.com. Does a great job over there. You know, DLo, I want to introduce you to a couple friends of mine. We got Ray the Barber in the house.
What up, Ray?
Yeah, Ray's a really good guy I've gotten to know here in the last couple months.
How you doing, DLo?
Yeah, he's got the pipes. He's got the golden pipes. As you
see. Bro.
He's the host of Ray's Juke Joint Spaces. You can find him at S_K_Powell on Twitter. And he's a really good guy, diehard Bears fan. We talk a lot. He does these spaces. I don't know how much you've been watching the updates on Twitter, but they do these spaces now. We're on there. We talk a whole lot of shit. We'll talk wrestling. We talk baseball. We talk football. We talk everything until we all start screaming at each other, and then we end the night.
That's because we're all scumbags.
And he's the ringleader of that circus. And I told him, you know, I'd bring him and our buddy Junior, who does work with the Bad Guys Radio, does great work for those guys, and he's also a big part of the spaces as Ray just said. We call ourselves the Scumbags. So we have a crew here, and DLo, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so whenever you got to go and do your thing, you just let me know. But I just wanted to kind of talk about what we heard with Zach and from a fan's perspective. Now that we've kind of laid the foundation and heard from somebody that's actually seen the team here this offseason, now we can have a more educated conversation about our expectations as fans. So, DLo, after what you heard here tonight, where is your mindset with this team? Are you keeping your expectations low, or are you a hopeless romantic and still trying to eyeball that schedule to 9 wins?
But it's both, because those are my beloved. I've loved them since I was 9 years old, so I'm always going to be hopeful. But when my football brain kicks in and I don't think about my heart, I think the coming year is just chalk. Let it happen. Get Justin back into a new system. Let's get a year under his belt. Let's take our salary cap from into next year and then build. So I think we're a year away from really being competitive. I can see us being 6-11. Hell, but if something breaks the right way, we could win 8 games. Who knows? But look, as long as we're competitive and as long as we're in games, And as long as I can see market improvement from Justin, the wide receiving core, the O-line, the defense, what more could you ask for this year?
Yeah, Herman Edwards once said it's one of my favorite quotes, and that's why it always keeps me in an optimistic mindset. He goes, the difference between a 7-win team and a 10-win team is about 5 plays. You know, and that's it. It's a game of inches. So you can, when somebody says, I think they're going to win 9 to 10 games, and you're like, you're an idiot. Well, 4 of these games are going to come down to the last play or a crucial play at the end of the fourth quarter. And those sometimes just happen on luck, a tipped pass in the air. Mike Brown, remember when he had 2 pick sixes to win it? Those were miracle plays, tipped in the air, house it, now all of a sudden the Bears
Devin Hester, you're ridiculous. Things like that happen.
You just never know, and that's kind of what brings us.
That.
That's what keeps us coming back for more, even through years of suffering as Bears fans. But I can also understand the cynical one that wants to stay grounded, and stay realistic, as the ones that stay more pessimistic would say.
Right.
But, I get it. Wait and see. There's a lot of question marks, especially on the offensive line, before we start making any grandiose predictions. Ray, I'll start with you, and then I'll throw it to Junior. Where is your expectations and your mindset, after everything you've seen, what you heard from Zack here tonight? Where is your headspace at when it comes to the Bears this season? I think you might be muted, Ray.
Shit. Well,
boy!
I'm still kind of
$5 in the tip jar.
I'm still kind of working on this, podcast thing, so on and so forth, trying to get mine off and everything. So forgive me, Greg.
No, you're good. We all do it. I do it all the time.
Yeah, but with the Bears, man, my whole thing is we didn't lose any of our good players other than Allen Robinson and Khalil Mack. Maybe Akeem Hicks. I missed that big guy. But at the end of the day, I think that those guys gave us all that they had, and the Bears tried to turn the roster over as best they can. That's why they got 11 draft picks. So having said all that, I am on the optimistic side. I've looked at the schedule numerous times. So I have us somewhere between 7-10 and 10-7. And I recently looked at it again, and I said, oh shit, can I curse on here?
You already did.
Oh, okay. Already did. My bad, Trey. Trey, I just want to make sure.
With my dumbass, absolutely, you can curse on here.
My bad. I just had to make sure, because I just got to make sure that we got to so I got to respect the host and his show and everything like that. So I don't want to curse too much.
Oh no, we curse on here.
The
but at the end of the day,
we have to with our teams.
Right. So I mean, I really looked at it with the talent that Justin possesses, and a lot of people are worried about the offensive line. I'm thinking. Appreciate you, Big Dollar Dave. But the guys are looking forward to having some type of leadership, right? And it feels like if you listen to Darnell Mooney, if you listen to Justin, if you listen to the guys, they're saying like, "Yo, we're getting coached up," and that leads to something bigger. Especially as a military guy, the way I think as far as freaking teamwork is concerned. Man, these guys have an opportunity to do something special and turn a lot of heads and maybe, show the world that they're not as bad as they looked last year. So I'm in the 7-10 to 10-7 range. Might even go 11-6, but Junior's going to kick my butt if I
Whoa!
Shut up,
Junior.
Bro, hold on. Time out. What you sipping on so I can have some?
Okay, so what I do have is some Woodford.
See, there you enough said, dog.
I always got the JD nearby just in case.
Bless you. Enough said. I'm going down to get some after this.
Yeah, right. But but when you go and you sip, look at your schedule as you do it, and then see how these teams really better than my Bears.
Because the Woodford makes schedule look better, dog.
I looked at it. Hey, DLo, I looked at it clean and sober. I really did, and I just think that they're going to be a lot better, only because the defense, and it's what
look that face right
That's
there.
the look. That's the look when he heard 11 wins.
So only because I think the backside of the defense, like Zack alluded to before he left, I think they're gonna be better than people think. And with Eddie Jackson, Ejax being able to roam again, I mean, sky's the limit. So.
Yeah, Chicago Rilla said that extra game is in the glass.
That's my guy. It would be somebody that actually knows me to say something. That's awesome.
Now, in Ray's juke joint spaces that we're always in, it's a lot of fun. We have a lot of healthy, fiery conversations. And two of the most fired up guys in that space are one guy named Justin. He's not here. No, not Justin Fields, just much crazier Justin. And then our guy Junior here, who's one of the most passionate Chicago sports fans I know. And he always tries to keep us in check in there, especially the eternal optimist. So I know Junior's going to have something for Ray here. Go ahead, Junior.
The only thing Ray said that was optimistic was really nothing, because there's nothing I look at the Bears and think, man, this is a 10-win team. You know where they're a 10-win team? In the CFL. That's where they're a 10-win team. And that's just facts. I mean, it's hard for me to sit here and you say, we really didn't lose that many good players. And then you go off and you name Hicks, Robinson, and Mack, and those were our three best players. It's very hard for me to accept that, okay, we just lost, three of our best players, which all three of them have potential to be all pro. And obviously we know Mack and Robinson could do that. Hicks, whatever. And then say they're going to be a 10-win team. I have a hard time believing that. 6-11 is where I have them. I can maybe see 7, like Bragg said, a season between 7 and 10 wins can land on 4 or 5 plays. Most games in the NFL are decided on one possession. So yeah, I mean, you can get the ball to roll your way one game, or you can double doink it and you lose a game. It happens.
Now that word is banned on here.
Okay.
Curse all you want.
Now you can say, I heard like Zack say it, and Ray, you just said it. The backside be better. We're all curious to see what Eddie Jackson could do with what's his name, Brisker, and then obviously Jalen with oh my God, what's his name?
Jalen Johnson.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson. It's going to be fun to see.
Yeah,
but that's one side of the ball.
Right.
And now we're going to switch to the other side of the ball. And everyone who knows me on Twitter thinks I'm the biggest Justin Fields hater in the world, and I'm the farthest thing from it. But there's one thing you guys forgot to mention when Zack was in here. And my two biggest concerns with Justin, one was mentioned, was ball security. I think there's an issue there. And before I say this other issue, ball security and the second issue, these can be fixed with correct coaching. And I think he finally has that coaching that can put him to that next level. Nobody wanted to bring up this man's injury history. It's like we sit here and we're just like, Justin's going to be out there. These injuries go far back to high school. And I see people on Twitter, I hear it on the radio every day. Oh, that happened in college. This happened this time. A broken ankle is a broken ankle. Doesn't matter if it happened at 20 or 23. A broken hand's a broken hand. These injuries that keep happening, keep piling up for Justin are serious things to look at. And again, with coaching, you can't really help durability, but you can help him take less hits. You can, hey, maybe take a sack here, or hey, run out of bounds here, slide the proper way. He's played baseball his whole career, and there was a few his whole life, and he's played, or last year, there's a few slides he took last year that I'm just like, dude, like, you're going to die if you do this in the NFL. These aren't 20-year-old college kids. These are 27-year-old grown men that want to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And just going off, looking at his injuries, I was, just jotting them down really quick. Just last year alone, you had the rib injury in the Ravens game. The Raiders game, he hurt his ankle. The Vikings, an ankle injury. There was an injury before the Packers game in Green Bay, I believe, that he hurt. His ribs last year, cracked. You go to college, sprained his MCL in back-to-back weeks, like re-aggravated this injury. And everyone wants to say, oh, Justin is this hard man. And, this is why Chicago's going to love him, because he plays hard. I love it too. I'm a South Suburb guy, blue collar. I like to think I'm a hard worker, but this isn't NCAA where you can go out there with a sprained MCL and run around with kids. These are grown men. You have Khalil Mack on the other side. You have Aaron Donalds on the other side that are going to burst through that trash offensive line and hurt him. Like, this is something serious people have to think of. His ribs in college, a groin injury this year in the NFL. That's just one thing I want people to look at and be like, okay, this is something we also have taken effect, that Justin has been hurt multiple times in the last 3 to 4 years. And I just feel nobody is looking at that whatsoever.
It's a fair concern. I guess for me, why are we going to define him as injury prone? You know, like, to me, and we talked about this on the Spaces a little bit, but like, if a guy has reoccurring injuries on the same knee or the same collarbone, like Aaron Rodgers, or, you know, that might be more of a concern. But when he's having injuries all over the place, like you mentioned, it's a physical sport. They're trying to kill you out there. So yeah, guys are going to get injured. And when you have an offensive line that doesn't block and you're running for your life, you have a better chance of getting injured. You know, Tom Brady, his jersey's, you know, as clean as it is when the game starts, when it finishes, you know, and that's another big factor when it comes to that. Obviously, the offensive line is still a concern. So if that's the case, then yeah, him getting injured should still be a concern. It's certainly a fair concern. Ray, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
You see how I just brought us to the space just now?
Yeah. You got the hand up.
Yeah, I put my hand up. First thing, I just want to say, Julian, you're a scumbag. I just want to say that. You're a scumbag. And also, I just asked the host, if you can, before we get off here, I would just like for everyone to pull up their schedule and just go through it one time. Just one time. Just go through it one more time and be optimistic about it. Well, not optimistic. I'm only using the word optimistic. Go and be a little bit more reasonable and look at the other team that we're playing, because we're playing some really crappy freaking teams this year. A lot of them, to include some teams that have way worse situations than the Bears have. So I'm just saying, if you can, Greg, I'm just going to ask. Just asking us if you can. If you can't get to it.
Maybe we'll get into that here once we scoot DLo on his way, because it could take some time going through the whole schedule one by one.
I don't know if Mr. DLo would want to go down the list with me, because he hasn't had his Woodford.
I haven't had my Woodford yet. It's still downstairs, and if I run down, I might stay down there.
Yeah, if you want to take a few shots, DLo, and then look over the schedule and find our way to 11 wins, we'd appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I love my Bears, but there's no way on God's green earth and all the air and space around to go get to 11 wins this year. I'm sorry.
Okay, what about 9-8? What about 9-8? Meet me in the middle, DLo. 9-8.
Come on, bro.
And I agree with you, Ray. You know, that they do have a schedule that is winnable. But we have to know what the Bears are going to be before we can start picking them.
Looking at us saying the same thing.
Exactly. I was just going to say that is, like, we can look at the New York Jets and be like, holy shit, we're playing Zach Wilson and this bum team. What do you think, like, they're saying about us? I mean, no. 1 second.
Not saying that.
You can be. No. You know what they're saying? You know what they're saying? You know what they're saying? They're licking their chops. You know why? They're licking their chops because all they see, those defensive linemen, is holy shit, we about to feast.
And Zach Wilson,
because everyone wants to sit here and be, oh my God, N'Keal Harry, Byron Pringle, Darnell Mooney, cool, awesome. But
Zach
still,
Wilson's on
no
a heater
money
right now with the mommy brigade that he's tearing.
No money put into that offensive line whatsoever.
Right now, in all 32 organizations, here we are in July, and everyone is optimistic, and everyone's saying this is 100%. Our year.
Hope springs eternal.
Every team. So every team can't be right because there's only one at the end.
And there's always teams. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying, but legit, right now, the Jets and the Giants are looking, going, well, we had a great draft. This could be our year. Ooh, we got the Bears at home in December or in November, whenever. This could be a winnable game. And we're going, well, it's just the Jets. They sucked last year. They could suck again this year. We don't know until we get there. Let's get through week 1, week 2, week 3. You don't know what you are until a month into the season.
Sure.
You have no clue.
It's true.
Especially with how soft they take it in the preseason, which is going to be one of my biggest things I look at with Matt Eberflus here going into training camp. I liked hearing Zack say, I think they got a good coach. He would know. He's watching. I haven't seen Matt Eberflus yet. I'm really excited to see how he deals with this team at camp. I'm really excited to see if he's going to pussyfoot his way through these preseason games or if he's actually going to play these guys and figure out who his offensive line is. And yeah, you're taking on an injury risk, but this team needs the work. They need to get out there and figure it out, not in week 1 when the bullets start flying for real, before that. And that was the thing that Matt Nagy didn't do last year, hadn't done since his first year here as head coach. When he came into camp his first year, he set a tone. The players are trying to impress him. He's trying to impress the players. There was an energy, and they played physical at camp. They played hard in the preseason. They had something to prove. And then after that, they just took every preseason off like, hey, we'll figure this out on the fly. That's not how it works in the NFL. If Tom Brady is out there in the preseason every year playing in multiple games for, 3 quarters sometimes, Russell Wilson does the same thing, then our guys can do it too. Yes, if we haven't figured out the offensive line, that I understand the injury concern, so I'm not trying to belittle that point, but at the same time, how do you figure out who your offensive line is? Until you get out there with your guys, with your quarterback, with your running backs, with your wide receivers. So I'm really interested to see what Matt Eberflus does. Trey, after hearing from Zack, talking to Zack, and hearing, what, Ray and Junior and DLo are saying, and myself, where is your mind space at when it comes to this Bears season? Are you optimistic, or are you in the will mode right now?
Well, I'm always going to
looking very angry. One of our loyal listeners.
This is a good day.
He's Photoshop. He hands out participation trophies too, but he's a very serious guy. You don't want to cross him, and he's very, very.
If he's looking like that, he's not happy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a lot of joy on his face. Believe it or not.
Hey, DLo, he's definitely a heel.
Right.
You know what?
He would Will would be a heel all day in wrestling.
That is the face of a heel right there.
Yeah.
That's definitely the face of a heel.
Yeah, he's scary. So go ahead, Trey. What are your thoughts with this year's Bears team?
All right. So my thought, I'm always going to be optimistic. I just can't help myself with it. But it's like I'm one of those any given Sunday kind of guys. Like any team can win on any Sunday to me. And that's what I love about football in the first place. Because, like you said, it's a game of inches. Like, most games come down to the wire, and it's really just when I'm more concerned, I just don't want to see, like, these down going into halftime down 5 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, anything like that. That's what I don't want to see at all in any game next season. It's like, be in the game. Mm-hmm. If you just keep yourself in the game down to the end and just see what happens, like put your what's crazy about some people they always say, oh, there's no way this can happen, there's no way this team can win it. It really is. It's like it just all comes if you can just stay competitive and stay in each game. Look at Detroit last year. And when I watched a lot of Detroit games last year, because they're in our conference and everything, you see a lot of the games, and they were in every game. It's like when you look at the schedule, the culture change there. I mean, who knows what they're going to do this year? But they have something to. They're saying the same thing. They're probably being optimistic. Oh, look at all the games we were in last year, and that's kind of like what I want to see, like when you have the kind of culture change with the head coach and your players play hard for each other and all that. Yeah, of course, we're going to have to wait and see, but I don't think they're just going into the season, just hopeless. They're all professionals here, and they all have talent, and we just hopefully need to see it and make as few mistakes as possible. And so I'm definitely going to be optimistic, but
they're going to have that energy with this new coaching staff. They're going to have that energy, and they also have the element of surprise because teams aren't really going to know what they're trying to do. Now,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
it's
Well,
not
hold on.
going to take.
Wait,
Go ahead.
Greg. How's that different than last year? Because we didn't even know what we were trying to do last year.
Yeah. Well, Nagy won Coach of the Year his first year in because they didn't know what he was doing, and as soon as the league adjusted to him, it kind of showed for who he was, and that's kind of the key to a great head coach. It's a league of adjustments.
Greg, you said something right there, and you just said it again. Adjustments. Not only do I want to see the Bears in games at halftime, like Trey said,
yes!
there was a few games last year where the Bears were in the game. Some of those games leading at halftime.
Yes.
And when time went into the second half, there were no adjustments made.
Yes, they played
if I'm not mistaken, the game against Green Bay in Green Bay, I think the Bears were winning that game 24-14 or something like that at half, and we ended up losing by 20. Yeah. There was multiple games last year that the Bears could have won. And again, that's my thing. Like when I go back to Justin, like with better coaching can make him a better player. Better coaching is going to make this team overall better. When you make adjustments, mid-game is so big in the NFL, and that's something the Bears lacked so much last year. So much, offensively and defensively.
That's the hidden variable. That right there. Once again, there's talent on every team. It is those little coaching decisions that are made in-game on the fly, and that's what we've not had for several generations of coaches here in Chicago. Right. That's what we need.
Yeah, one of the worst teams coming out of the halftime tunnel playing in the third quarter by a lot.
They'll give up a touchdown on the first drive. Like what did y'all go in there and do?
Now, Junior, we got a guy in the chat. He's one of my biggest trolls, and he's a good guy though. He's we spar a little bit on Twitter about Vucevic, but he wanted to point out because you brought up we lost our three best players in Hicks, Robinson, and Mack, but you also can also think about the fact that each of those guys, Hicks and Mack were hurt. They didn't play all season. So yes, while we don't have those players who are amazing players,
can I raise my hand like we're in the spaces?
Well, let me finish. And and then Robinson, who was ready to leave before the season even started, did not play up to his potential. Almost, in my opinion, purposely because he was done with the Matt Nagy circus show, and I don't blame him at all. But so he wants to know Hicks, Robinson, and Mack, three of our best players from 2018.
Double hands on that
one. 2022, son. Junior, I'll let you go first, and then DLo, I'll let you go second.
Shy sports fan, I love that you troll, man, because I'm one of the biggest trolls on Twitter. But I'm gonna be serious about this one, bud. What the Bears go in 2018? What was their record, guys?
Well, they won 12 games, right? They won
12-4, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now in 19, 20, and 21, what did Mack, Robinson, and Hicks all have in common? What one thing on them dropped?
Their stats.
What's the same concern I have with Justin Fields?
Well, their injuries.
He's talking about
injuries.
Injuries.
With his,
and
go
so
ahead,
people, and so this is what I'm talking about. This is when you lose your best players, because I say it every single night. Your best ability is availability. DLo, let me ask you a question, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you were hurt in the WWF, how good were you to Vince?
Not a bit. Someone else.
Oh man, that's crazy. That's crazy how sports and sports entertainment work. When you are hurt, man. And so Shy sports fan, I said that's my point. They didn't play. How can they be your best players? They're your best players because you went 5-11 or 6-10. Those are the type of players that when they play, they make a difference on the field. Khalil Mack makes a difference on the field. Hakeem Hicks makes a difference on the field. Now, sure, everyone can say whatever they want about Allen Robinson. Listen, he was fed up with the Bears. There was no bringing him back, even under the new regime. But still, if you have the mindset of the Allen Robinson Pro Bowler that we know he is, you have another 1 or 2 wins. Look at this. Come on, guys. And people, and I love Darnell Mooney. I love me some Darnell Mooney. But for people to really sit here and think Darnell Mooney is a more talented receiver than Allen Robinson, that I have an issue with, because he is not. And he's going to ball out in L.A. like he should be balling out here. That's the problem.
That's going to be my point on Allen Robinson. That's going to be my point on Allen Robinson. That's why I got double hands up. First of all, You got to put in the mental aspect of sport. And the fact when you're on a team and you know they don't want you, are you going to go give 100% like you did the year before catching 1,000 yards or 100 balls from a subpar quarterback? No. And then you know when you want them to give you a contract and they mess around for 2 years not giving you money. First thing, you've already checked out and you've already left. So on the field, he's out there just trying not to get hurt. Then you've got an idiot coach who's scheming Allen Robinson out of the game. You can't blame all last year on Allen Robinson. That was a Bears problem.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Exactly, and people want to crucify Allen Robinson.
That was a Bears problem last year.
I go to work 5 days out of the week. I don't go there to make friends. I go there to get my paycheck. And Allen Robinson went to work to get his paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants his money down the road. And everyone always likes to say the thing of, you already have millions. What do you need more for? Listen, when you play professional sport, DLo, you can't wrestle for 50 years.
No.
You're not Ric Flair who wants to keep doing this, brother. So, right?
And realistically, and I'm not cutting you off, realistically, most have 3 to 5 years to make all the money they're going to have for the next 60 years.
Correct. And that's the thing.
Get your dollars.
That's the thing I don't think people look at is they want to call these players selfish and cruel. When you take your whole life from a young age of 6, 7, 8 years old, whenever you set your mind on, I want to make it to the MLB, I want to make it to the NFL, and you spend every single day working your tail off to get to that point, you deserve to get every single dollar there is that's handed to you. I will never be mad at a player, an entertainer, anything, whoever jumped ship from the team I root for to go get a bigger bag. So the people who want to say Allen Robinson is selfish, no, Allen Robinson is looking out for himself, his child, his fiance or wife, whatever they are now, and he was looking out for himself 30, 40 years after he retires. Good for Allen Robinson. Should he have got more with the Bears? 100%. But that's what happens when you do bad business, and that's what the Bears
exactly right. Amen, brother.
Let me ask you guys this. You know, like I said, I'm a big Khalil Herbert guy. I'm excited for what he can do for this team. Not trying to dismiss what David Montgomery is to this team. You know, certainly a leader. You know, and look at the physicality, and you know he never quits. And just look at the tenacity there. I love David Montgomery. Don't get me wrong when I say this, but we do know how the NFL is when it comes to running backs, and he is in his contract year. I'm going to start with you, DLo, and then I'll kick it around the room to Ray, and then Trey, and then Junior. You guys can answer. But what would you do? Would you sign David Montgomery to a long-term deal, or would you let him walk and let Khalil Herbert and potentially this Treston Ebner, who's coming in from the draft, you know, be the next running backs in line and pay a big-time wide receiver in the offseason? What would you do, DLo?
Look, I love David Montgomery. I think he's an incredible back. I think he's been durable, and he's proven a lot. But you know what he is? The next running back in the system. Let him go. Don't pay a running back. It's been proven over the last 8 to 10 years. You pay a running back, you take steps backwards. Next man up. Khalil's up. We'll draft another dude, and those guys will be good next year. Then they'll go away in 2 years. Take your money, use it in better places. O-line, wide receiver, defense. Right now, putting all your money on a running back, that's just not the way the NFL works.
Ray, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. But I think to another point, I think that you're really going to really find out who Ryan Poles is, right? Ryan Poles is really going to show us who he is when it comes to the offseason next year on players like David Montgomery. A lot of people love David Montgomery. I think everybody on this show right now loves David Montgomery. I really do. He's a little monster. I love that kid. But like DLo just said, it has been proven that you're not going to get that bag. The majority of people are not going to get that. What's Buddy's name in Dallas? What's Buddy's name?
Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah,
Ezekiel Elliott.
They're not getting that bag. They're not. Not as a running back. You know, it's just been proven, like DLo just said. So for real, like, and I know Junior's going to say the same thing. Like, they're not paying running backs. You don't pay running backs like that anymore. It's those days are over because of the revolving door of the of the running back position.
Trey, I'll go to you, and then Junior can wrap it up.
I mean, the only way he gets he's not going to get an Ezekiel Elliott type contract regardless, but you have to make yourself more valuable, like as a pass catcher and everything like that. I mean, if you can see him evolve as a, somebody who can, who's really dependable and, like you said, has the availability and is out there, that's the only way I can see him getting a contract, or even though it won't be that Ezekiel Elliott like type contract, like probably not even like more than $10 million a year or something like that. When that's pushing it, I mean, like you said, the value of the running back has been diminished, and because it's just so many out there, and you can always draft the talent and stuff like that. And I just, as much as I love Montgomery, I just don't see it. Even if he has a great year and shows how, like he can catch the ball like Matt Forte out the backfield and stuff like that. I just don't see it.
That's fair. Junior, what do you got?
First off, Shy Sports fan, you need to shut your mouth, or I'll check you into the SmackDown hotel. So you need to calm down there. Right now, in the room 16, know your role and shut your Rudy Poo candy ass up. Because I see you over there in the comments, and I'm gonna go to one comment because you didn't like how I went on Allen Robinson. Yeah, his accountability was bad, but you seem like a 14-year-old who has never had a damn job. When someone fucks with your money, that's when you'll start getting upset. All right.
Shots fired.
Now that's gone, we'll get to this other comment you made really quick. Packers, 49ers, Vikings pay running backs, and they run similar offenses. We'll see. What do all three of those teams have in common? None of them were in the damn Super Bowl. So now we're going to go to the Super Bowl, and what winning teams do when they're in the Super Bowl. 2020, Leonard Fournette, $2 million. Damian Williams, 19. $1 million. Sony Michel, $480,000. LeGarrette Blount, $900,000. LeGarrette Blount, $760,000. CJ Anderson, $500,000. LeGarrette Blount, $750,000. You know what I've noticed? LeGarrette Blount, 4 Super Bowls, and only in one of those he made over $1 million. It's crazy to think about it. No, I love me some David Montgomery, I really do, but you're not paying David Montgomery that top tier running back money. Okay, so it's not happening. And one thing, David Montgomery was drafted in the 3rd round. You know what that means? It means you can find another David Montgomery in the 3rd round.
Bam.
All right.
Hey, so to that point, before we go, Greg, if you don't mind,
go ahead.
I did make a little kind of thought about it today. I would not be surprised if week 1 against San Francisco. If you look at Mac Eberflus and how he played with the Colts when they played the 49ers. And they made halftime adjustments, right? 49ers didn't even sniff the end zone when they played the Colts with that defense. But at the same time, their running back is a workhorse. They had a couple running backs out there. So I'm thinking Demo, 25 carries, Khalil Herbert, 15 carries. First game. Making that right now.
Khalil's got the juice, man. Like I said, I'm not trying to hate on David Montgomery by saying it. You can like both without denigrating the other.
No, you can't. You don't have to denigrate him. That's Juice Herbert right there. Juice.
He's got the juice. He does.
I do got a question. I kind of want to change subjects here a little bit. DLo, I got 2 questions for you, sir. I grew up an Attitude Era kid.
Okay.
Like it was my life growing up. Monday night, man. Monday Night Raw was always on in the house. I was a big Raw guy, and then I saw like NWO, and I'm like, holy shit, this shit is just too sweet. This is sick as hell. So 2 questions, one a Bears question, then one a wrestling question. What are your thoughts on the Bears not potentially gonna be moving to Arlington Heights? And then obviously the Monday Night Wars. We all know it was a real thing, but how real was it? Like at one point, was the locker room with WWF afraid, like, holy shit, these guys are taking over the ratings, like we're gonna lose our jobs? Like how worried was it in the locker room?
Okay, so I'll take the second one first. It was a real thing. When you see people leaving the WWF at the time and going down there and creating the NWO and this, oh my God, or then all of a sudden Goldberg hops up on the screen and now they're riding this momentum and they're going into bigger buildings. You're like, damn. And at the same time, we were down, and it was like, what are we going to do? And then all of a sudden, attitude kicked off. And I tell people all the time, like, if you take a match between myself and X-Pac on Raw, we weren't wrestling each other. We were wrestling the two guys who were on Nitro at the exact same time. We were literally comparing our matches to their matches, trying to make sure we were delivering a better product. So it was a real thing that we thought about every time we went to the arena. You thought about it every night. You thought, how can we go out there and do something better? And fortunately, we came out on top of that end of the stick. But there was some worrisome nights there. And now for the Bears going to Arlington Heights, look, I love Soldier, but I hate Soldier. I love going to see the Bears play. I don't like Soldier Field. I think it's a rotten building. It's got horrible parking. I don't like walking a mile and a half from the parking lot to get into the building. I think if the Bears can do something like the Cowboys did in Arlington, and where they are in that Cowboy Stadium area, where it's this whole downtown area, a dome stadium. Can you imagine a Super Bowl in Chicago in that stadium, what it would do for the city, let alone our backwards run like a mom and pop shop franchise? So I hope that they do the right thing. Don't just transport the spaceship to Arlington, build a nice facility, domed, and make it state of the art and blow everybody out of the water. So I am looking forward to the day when they're the Chicago Bears are out in Arlington Heights balling it out.
It's going to be pretty cool going to a game in December, being able to wear a T-shirt.
Yes, wear this. I don't like. Look, I hate the mystique of Bears weather. I don't like a damn cold. I don't want to sit in 40. If I wanted to sit in 30 degrees all day long, I'd still live in Chicago and sit in my backyard and watch the game. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, right. I've been to 2 Bears games in Dallas. At that stadium, it is incredible.
Be back there this year too.
Yeah, they're right back. And I've been to Atlanta too with their new stadium, and man.
And another thing they host at Dallas, new stadium is WrestleManias. DLo, how cool would it be to have a WrestleMania at the home of the Chicago Bears?
Everything. WrestleManias would be amazing. The NCAA championship, the championship game would be awesome. The Final Four. Think about what you could bring to Chicago that you're off limits now because of fair weather. How much money are you losing to other cities because of fair weather?
And one thing, everyone wants to talk about this fair weather. We should go look at our record in 2000.
We stuck in the cold. We stuck in the cold.
Fair weather. I just want to throw that out there for fair weather.
All right.
Trey and I have had a nice long show with DLo where we talked a lot about his wrestling career, and it was an amazing opportunity for us. Junior and Ray, obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't let him get a few wrestling questions in before we cut you loose, DLo, unless you have to go, because I don't want to keep you if you do have somewhere to go. But I
got a little more. I got a little bit more time.
All right, we'll only keep you for a little more. I would say, too, with Ray's Juke Joint, it is a lot of fun, and maybe sometime we can convince you to hop into the spaces and hang out with the scumbags for a few minutes, because there's a few more that would love to meet your acquaintance.
I've dropped in some spaces from time to time unexpectedly, so that's not a far stretch.
Okay, cool. Ray, you got anything for DLo? Like I said, we'll keep them just a little bit longer.
I do. So a little bit about myself and my love for wrestling, right? So in the Army, I was in the Army in the 90s. So all the guys, we would get off work and we would run back, to the barracks. We'd be back in the barracks before Monday Night Raw came on. So it was a real deep place in my heart. But then I had a daughter, and she was born, in 97, and so imagine your kid being a toddler, well, not even a toddler, let's just say a baby, before she's 1 year old, and she literally stops crying because wrestling's on. You feel me? So it's that deep with me and my kids. So that's I appreciate you and everybody that you was working with, and Mark Henry and all the other guys that you work with, in the WWE or WWF or whatever you want to call WWE now, for being just those heroes for kids because my daughter's still, she's gonna be 25 years old, and my other daughter's gonna be 20, and they still watch what you guys did, and they still go back and watch those matches. So it's just an honor to really speak with you about what you did in the square circle. So
now, dog, I'll tell you this real quick. Let me jump in because I'll give you love back. If it wasn't for young men and women like you defending our country, giving me an opportunity to go out there and do the things that I love to do because of the freedom that you ensured we had, I wouldn't have had it. And as just as much as we are heroes to your daughters, you and your daughters are heroes to us because without you, we ain't shit. And I don't even curse on air. Without you, we're nothing. So
I appreciate it.
I'll give you that back. If it's not for you and the love of your family have for us, I don't have a job. So thank you.
Man, that's really a big that's heartfelt. That's heartfelt. Thank you, DLo. But I do have a question, or maybe two.
Go ahead.
It's all right. So, having said that, I'm watching WWE now, and I'm still watching AEW, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like this big thing right now. But there is a term that I really don't understand what it really means. So, if you can give us a little insight into the world of wrestling, let us all know, what do wrestlers define a 5-star match as?
Man, the term 5-star match is about as ambiguous as Matt Nagy's playbook. That all depends on the viewer and what you like. And you can have a match that's this luchador high flying match, and if you happen to like lucha wrestling, that's a 5-star match. And the same person might watch it and go, "What the hell's that?" Or you might watch a ground and pound, kick your ass wrestling mat move counter hold match, and you're like, "That's a 5-star match," and people are like, "That's boring." It's an ambiguous term, meaning basically, I like what I saw. It was better than what I saw last week. That's literally what the rating system is. That's like saying this football game is a 5-star game. It all depends. Some people like defense. Some people like offense. Some people like mud games. Some people like snow games. It's all depending on what you like. That's what 5-star means. It means absolutely nothing.
Wow. Thank you.
That's straight from the heart, honest.
Right. So the follow up to that is with AEW, catching a little steam. Do you think that there's really going to be a split or maybe a coming together again? Like, do you see the Monday Night Wars happening again?
In a weird way, I hope so, because if the Monday Night Wars happen again, then that's just the people who win in that are the fans, because they are getting the best of both products. And they're getting the absolute best of writing and wrestling and creativity, where when there's not this competition, companies tend to get lazy, because if they're the clear number one, well, they don't have to work as hard. But when there's a 1 and a 1A, well, 1 doesn't want to become 1A, and 1A is always trying to become 1. So it is that competition that brings out the best in all of us. So let's hope there's a new Monday Night Wars. Let's hope there's a new Wrestling Wars. There's so much wrestling out there, Impact included. Let's hope that there is enough wrestling on TV where it draws back the 15 million fans that disappeared after Attitude Era. Let's hopefully bring them back into the fold, and we all win.
Yeah, that's dope. Thank you, sir.
Iron sharpens iron, right?
Right.
Competition breeds success. So, you saw that on Full Display. You're seeing it in these documentaries. Everybody always references the Monday Night Wars. And, one of my favorite documentaries is The Rise and Fall of the WCW. And it really illustrates just how heated it was. And like you mentioned about how you guys were so competitive of keeping your artistic flows going just to stay on top of one another. We went in a long debate the other day about how the NWO revolutionized the sport, and Ray was like, "Hey, the Four Horsemen started that," because he's trying to teach us young bucks who are the 90s kids
let's not sleep on the Nation. We had something to do with that too.
And the Nation.
No, y'all did. Y'all did.
And then
Y'all
D-Generation
did.
X, you know.
For me, that was huge. If you understand what I'm saying, you feel me? Okay.
Junior, you got. I'm sorry, Trey. Go ahead. I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I'm just over here just enjoying everything.
No, go ahead. I don't want to. I just go ahead, Trey.
Yeah. When they was talking about like I would love to see like Monday Night Wars type of thing, but the way media is consumed is so different. So it's like you just hope that these other companies like flood the internet with their content, because that's what we consume. Most of our content is on our phones, and that's why I've seen a lot of really good impact matches, because the algorithms, they pop up what you like to watch, and you'll see it like a wrestling match, and I'm like, oh man, I remember this match. Like I remember one of the matches with DLo Brown and X-Pac popped up on my phone, and then one with him and Jeff Jarrett, Double J, and all that stuff. So it's like you want to see that. You just hope that they put the content out there and it's consumed and liked, and then that draws people to the TV, and to where you got 5 guys on here talking about it right now. That's how it spreads, and get out there. You create that interest with the good content and the good 5-star matches, so to speak.
Now I know what that is. I'm like,
The heel of our show has entered the chat. This is the infamous Will that we're talking about. His name's Liam Dutan on Twitter. But for those of you that put a name with the face here with his participant, he wants to know if this is the show where everyone agrees and is happy. So he's always critical of the content we put out here. Quickly, Junior, do you got anything else for DLo? We'll catch him down the road.
I'll make this quick. Like Ray had said, I mean, I'm the child here. I'm not going to say my age because you guys are going to get a little upset. But growing up in the 90s, man,
you ain't got a beard.
I just saved it. I just saved it. And Ray, I shaved it because the White Sox are so back. Fresh slate going into the second half. Just shaved it. But anyway, growing up in the 90s, getting to see the Attitude Era, you got the Nation, the Ministry, DX. Like, my childhood is phenomenal compared to what kids get to see nowadays as far as with AEW, WWE, and any other promotion out there, So thank you. It was there's the photo right there. It was phenomenal. 2 questions I have for you, though, and just make them quick. You don't have to elaborate. Your best match that you will always remember in WWF, and one of my favorite wrestlers, just a phenomenal technician, Owen Hart. How big? Everyone always says he was a ribber. How big of a ribber was he? Now, for people out there who don't know, that's someone who just likes to joke around, have a good time. How big of a ribber was he?
I'll take the second one first. Owen was the biggest ribber on the planet, but nothing malicious. It was little ribs because he loved you. It was little ribs just to get you to be, to break tension or to get everybody to laugh. But I mean, he would do little things from untie your laces in the ring to, hide your bag. Or he had one time he hung my bag from the big scoreboard in the middle of an arena, and my bag was dangling from it. So just different things like that. So Owen was a great ribber. What was the first question? I missed it. Oh,
your best favorite match.
Your best match.
Oh God! See, there you go. I already lost it. I have 2. My first one would be myself, Val Venus, SummerSlam '98, Madison Square Garden, European title. We loved that match as 2 young guys. They gave us 20 minutes to go out there and open up what was considered the most important pay-per-view in WWE history at that time, because on top was the first encounter of Steve Austin and The Undertaker. So that was a big moment for me. And then I can lump all these matches into one. Anytime I ever stepped in the ring with X-Pac, he and I could have a 5-star match in a phone booth.
So you guys, you and X-Pac had that chemistry that sports
awesome.
Entertainers always talk about, to where like you can put like as much as they hated each other, like Brett and Sean, like people always say, you can put them in a ring. They're putting out a 5-star match. So you and X-Pac, you felt with him, you can get into ring. It doesn't matter what city or ring backstage. You guys were given 5 stars.
Literally, we could be in 2 different cars driving the highway and have a 5-star match. That's how much chemistry the 2 of us had in the ring. And sometimes you don't know why it clicks. You don't know how it clicks. You never question it. You just go with it. And Pac and I had that chemistry every time we touched. I don't think and I had asked him, I don't think we ever had a bad match. We probably wrestled each other 200 times.
Wow. Well, earlier we
thank
talked
you for answering, man. That's like I said, I hit it again, fanboying a little bit. You made my childhood phenomenal. Everyone in that locker room made it great. Memories I will have until the day I die. And like I can sit here and talk about memories, whether with WWF or WCW, until you can actually like see them live like I did, no matter which promotion it was. You guys all made my childhood phenomenal. So thank you.
For sure. I think you can speak for all of us in that regard. DLo, we talked about our favorite promos earlier in the show, and the New Age Outlaws, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D-Generation X proudly presents to you the WWF Tag Team Champions of the World. That was some of the best.
I'll say that when I DJ. I didn't even realize.
I gotta ask this.
Gentlemen, boys and
you have, in case he's watching, you're gonna get some paper from a lawyer at your door. So I can't disrespect Vince. You have the second most notorious walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
How did you get it, man? I gotta know.
My question,
bro. Okay, so here.
Were you trying to mimic Vince, and you're like, yeah, watch me?
No, actually,
you took my question. You
actually, if you want to know the truth, you look back at it. Vince took the walk from me, and I go.
There you go. True. Thank you.
So, I started the strut when I started the head shake, and it was just when I started the head shake, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. That's where the strut came from. So if you want to know, it all started with the head shake. And it came from my favorite movie of all time, Friday, when Chris Tucker went, "You got knocked up."
Right.
Yes. So that's where the head shake came from, and I just needed something with my shoulders, and there it came from. So the strut I wanted to. If I was always taught, if you're given 2 minutes to shine, steal every second of those 2 minutes. So what better than shaking my head and strutting like a peacock would draw you to a black man on TV? So
Jericho always said that too. If you get 30 seconds of TV, make it the most entertaining 30 seconds ever.
And Trey and I have heard the story, DLo, but maybe tell these guys, and for the new viewers watching, why you chose to come out as DLo Brown from Chicago, Illinois, because I find this to be a really fascinating and cool story.
Look, Chicago is. I wasn't blessed enough to be born in Chicago, but you can choose where you're from and where you represent and what you think you represent. To me, I've always loved the backbone of what is Chicago. It's built on hard work, good values. Don't say die. Work your ass off in the cold, fair weather. But Chicago just embodied what I wanted to be. And as far as the name DLo Brown goes, I had a friend of mine in high school. His name was Darren Lewis. His nickname was DLo, and he passed away in high school from cancer. So when I got into wrestling, I did not have a name yet, and I asked his mother if I could use his nickname. So DLo is my way of paying respect to him, and so every time my name is announced, he has to be remembered. That's why DLo is my name.
That's
awesome. That's pretty great. And I think that's a great place to leave it. DLo, you always are so gracious with your time. As I said earlier in the show, it puts chills down my back to know that we've kind of developed somewhat of a friendship. I'm looking forward to the day we actually can meet in person, maybe go to a Bears game together, maybe tailgate together. I always said, you're more than welcome to frog splash me off the top of a freaking Bears ambulance if you want.
We're not the Buffalo Bills. We're not the Buffalo Bills.
We're not.
This is our new tradition. DLo just frog splashes every drunk person in the South Pod. That sounds way cooler than
DLo, get the
frog
tables.
splash.
Instead of Devon, it's DLo, get the tables.
I'll tell you, Greg, I appreciate you having me on, and we may get the chance to meet sooner than you think. Impact Wrestling is coming to Cicero at Cicero Stadium, August 12th and 13th. If you guys can be there, you're my guests. Come on down. I'm inviting the entire city of Chicago. Come on out and see Impact Wrestling. August 12th and 13th,
let me tell you
Cicero
something.
Stadium.
I 1000% will be there, especially if it's 2 days. You know, who knows what my schedule is going forward. But if it's 2 days, it's pretty much a guarantee that I will be there at least one of the 2 days, if not both, because I look forward to shaking your hand. DLo, you're one of the nicer guys that I've come across in this crazy sports media world that I've kind of fallen myself into. And, you know, you've shown support to my show in a way that, you know, I'll be forever grateful. It's cool for me to know that you take such interest in what I do, what Trey does. And now I'm glad I could introduce you to Ray and Junior here. You know, Ray's got big things coming down the pipeline. So I wanted to be the bridge to introduce you to some different people that I know here on Bears Twitter and Chicago sports Twitter alike. And thank you for all your time tonight. I mean, well over an hour and a half here. So I apologize, but the conversation was flowing. I wanted to stick to more Bears on this one. The last time we had you on, I think we talked wrestling for over an hour. So I know how bloodthirsty you are for Chicago Bears football. And I appreciate you coming on and talking and shooting it around the round table with these guys. And hopefully, you know, later in the season, we can talk some more, and maybe it'll be about some positivity, and we can rub it in Junior's face, and we'll let Ray drink all the Woodford he wants.
I'd love to be proved wrong. I'd love it.
But thank you, gentlemen, for having me. It's time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's time for me to go downstairs and get my Woodford now. So
Yeah,
with that being said, I'll say bear down, and you better recognize.
We will recognize. All right, DLo Brown, a wrestling legend and
awesome.
a current announcer in Impact Wrestling. Really cool stuff. He's a good dude. Through and through. So, and then there were four. So, we ain't got to kick it around too much longer. I mean, Ray might want to start, start a spaces. Although you guys are taking a break until
we're on a little break. We're going to be dropping our first podcast episode during the All-Star break. So
why don't you tell people that are still tuned in exactly what Ray's Juke Joints Spaces is and the podcast you guys have coming up?
So basically, one day I just had a wild hair up my ass. And I was like, man, I want to talk about the White Sox, but I ain't been to a game all year, and I want to talk to some other fans. So let me just start a space. And then it became something completely different. As you all know, everybody in here, Trey, you haven't been in, but I want you to come, brother. And it became something that I didn't know it was going to become. And the Juke Joint is a name that we came up with between myself, Eric, and Elise. When we got together organically through the space, I said, man, this guy's a smart guy. He's a smart baseball guy. He's a smart stats guy. Let me just make him my guy. You know what I'm saying? Off the rip. And then you listen to Elise speak, young, passionate about her sports, passionate about what she thinks about as far as
mean to me.
She is mean to
everyone,
you.
man. To everyone.
She loves her I put it this way, she loves what she loves. So if she loves something, she loves hard on it. And I've gotten to know that between that. So with the spaces, it was more like, hey, the White Sox we don't really talk about the Sox game. Why don't we just talk about it during the game? So that's what started that. So then when I got with Eric and Elise, it became where I figured we can just start a podcast and, talk about the same stuff and then add more elements to it as far as fantasy football, as far as sports gambling, as far as the Bears and the Bulls. So we all have the love for all the Chicago sports, and we play that's pretty good. Hey, you just don't know. Elise is mean to Braggs. Yes, he gets kicked out all the time.
Everyone's mean to me. This never ends.
So if you are on Twitter during the White Sox games, myself, Eric, Elise, Junior most times, Greg, Dan Goodwin, who's from the Three Kings Bears podcast, and a lot of other scumbags, especially Justin and Italian Bull. It's a lot of characters in the space. It's a lot of characters that come. So we call it the Juke Joint because we want everyone to come in and have a good time, sit around the bar basically, and enjoy a good conversation about sports in general, not just the White Sox, and not just the X's and O's of it, but just how you feel as a fan when you watch the teams play that we're going to be covering damn near every night during all the freaking seasons. And yes, come meet the scumbags. The scumbags are the regulars, the ones that come to the bar every night, and they come in and they are the ones that keep it funky like every freaking night. I love my scumbags, Greg Jr., Bull, Mac, Justin, and so many, Nate, Kean. It's a lot of guys. I could go on and on and on, but it's a lot of guys that come in there all the time that are dear to my heart because they made the space special. They made going on Twitter and starting a space something I never knew it would grow into. So it's pretty cool.
It's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed popping in. It's almost therapeutic because we all just kind of bullshit, because Twitter to me is starting to get washed a little bit. The round and round we go arguments. It's the same argument 900 times in a row. And I just don't have the time for it. I got a job and a 4-year-old daughter. I'm on Twitter, so I'm not trying to act like I'm above it, but I just want fresh conversation. And when I came into the Juke Joint and everybody's kind of bullshitting, but also having some good conversation about all sports and all sorts of crazy shit if you stay on late enough, but it's more refreshing. It's more refreshing because you actually hear each other. You don't see each other like we're doing tonight, but you at least hear each other and someone gets to kind of really, elaborate their points and, we're organized. Ray keeps it organized where you put your hand up. There's like a button, where you can put your hand up and we all wait our turn. Nobody talks over each other for the most part. Exactly. Just like that.
That is great. Thank you.
And there might be some times you're sitting there, you got your hand up and then you got to use your other hand to hold it up because you're waiting for a while.
Exactly. And everybody does. And that's what I like about it. So if you're following Ray, and again, it's at _S_K_ Powell, but then the Juke Joint official page is what again?
It's at FTBC 22.
At FTBC 22. Follow either of those or follow any of us when we're in it, and it'll show that we're in the spaces, and you can join us because Trey knows about this kind of phenomenon because what I do here, I'll have different viewers and I got to shout out my guy Chubbs because.
Greg,
go ahead,
Greg. Before you go,
I'm not going.
No. Before you go to Trey, we just got to make sure that the scumbags get the scumbags name written correctly. Is SK.
Oh, you're doing the K.
Yeah, it's the K because just so you know. You guys are going to get some T-shirts with scumbags on the back.
Okay, we're going to keep it to the K then. All right,
gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit?
Those are going. There it is. Those are going to go. You guys will have that scumbag on the back of y'all's merch. So y'all have special ones made up.
Well, and what I was going to say was Trey understands this phenomenon better than anyone. Like I was saying, I got to shout out my guy Chubbs because I've been doing this podcast for a few years now. And when I first started, and hell, for a long time, even after I first started, he was basically the only person that would watch consistently. So I'll always be indebted to Chubbs for showing that support and making the chat fun while we do the show, because the more people in the chat, the more interactive the show is. You saw how it got fired up with Junior and Shy Sports Fan. And he's even saying, that's why, that's why we troll, to keep it fun. And I totally understand
saying that from the SmackDown Hotel right now, though. So.
Right. He got smacked out. And he was wondering to you, Junior, because you were saying you were younger. And he was like, maybe you're 14 by chance.
Man,
because you said he was 14.
I got a kid that's going to be 14 soon.
Maybe it's him. Maybe he's
it might
your
be him.
illegitimate child.
Might be him.
They don't call me Zach Wilson for nothing, son. All right?
But I was going to say.
When mommy puts you to bed, I'll come over.
what I was going to say, though, was Trey created a community with his Twitch. He would go live every day when he wasn't so busy. He's a hardworking man doing karaoke and hosts stand-up comedians every week. And, we do our live shows when we can, and we're doing our show here tonight, just, trying to fit it in where we can get it in. But Trey would do a show every day, Monday through Friday on Twitch for a long time. And he created this community where guys like Will, Liam Dutan,
what did I do?
Big Dollar Dave and Beck and John and all these, like, to the point where last year we all met up and watched the Bears game at my house together. And so it is powerful when you can build a community like that. And it really does become a true friendship that you can meet through social media. There's a lot of fakeness on social media, but when you can really, kind of understand where somebody's coming from, on a different level than just the 140 characters on Twitter, you can create some quality friendships in a lot of ways, even if you're not hanging out every day person to person. So I appreciate what you do, Ray. Trey, I've said it a million times, how much I appreciate our friendship and the community you've built. So, this is fun for me, and I'm just trying to continue to, meet people in this way and have healthy relationships like that.
Right.
Yeah, but we need to meet up at the Hooters up in up in Maryville. Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we got Elise in the house.
Is that my girl?
From her YouTube channel.
It's definitely Elise because she hates capitalizing words that need to be capitalized. So that's how I know it's her.
No punctuation.
It's just like this,
even her name, right?
Yeah, she's just these kids don't care about none of that. They don't care about none of that. The young ones don't even know how to write their name in cursive and shit. So
what's cool, Elise? I'm the one that can mute people now. I'm the captain now. Come in my house. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Hey, if y'all are watching the comments, it's coming. Elise is about to go unleash on Greg. So if you like trolling, here it comes.
No, it was a lot of fun tonight. Talking Bears, talking wrestling with DLo. Like I said, we ain't got to kick it too much longer. We're hitting the 2-hour mark right now, as it were, and I'm sure you guys want to get to what you're doing. The Home Run Derby, I think, just wrapped up. People have been updating it throughout in the chat, so I recorded it in case Schwarber won, because I obviously rooting for my guy who brought home a World Series title, Junior.
Let me break your heart, bud. He did not win.
He didn't. That's all right. You can spoil it for me because I'm watching Better Call Saul.
The $500 million man won.
Damn.
Soon
the future Chicago White Sox.
Chicago White Sox.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So
trading Moncada for him.
So Greg, I don't know
if
you were. I don't think you were in the juke joint when we did this before. But Junior did come out with a 7-10 record. I'm not even gonna hold you. He did. So real quick with Trey and you on the line.
It was 6-11.
It was not. You need to stop.
Let's make this the last.
I have it written down somewhere. I know that's what I'm saying. I want to make it the last thing before we go because I think. So Shy Sports fan, where did you find this guy? He is
He's crazy. He's absolutely crazy.
Nuts.
Yeah, no, he's crazy.
Like, it's not boring.
He's a walking, talking trigger.
Yeah. So I have. He's a walking, talking trigger. I get it. It might have been because
you keep making jokes. They might win more games in the preseason than the regular season. So you need to chill, man.
You know what? I'm not even gonna hold you. You might be right. We're definitely gonna. I don't even know, man. We only got 3 preseason games.
All right, so I'm looking at this. Let's make this the last.
So yeah, real quick. So
right now, week 1, San Francisco in Chicago. I got that as an L.
Yeah, me too.
I got a dub.
You got a dub? Okay.
I got a dub only because Matt Eberflus owns Kyle Shanahan.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm not saying we can't win, but if I
then who's the quarterback? Who's the quarterback? A rookie starting his first game in Soldier Field. Stop. I mean, he's not a rookie, but he's a rookie.
Or is it the same quarterback that came into Soldier Field and beat
He's hurt.
golden
not playing.
child, Justin Fields. Which one is?
Oh yeah, well
Jimmy
Trey Lance
Garoppolo is not playing. It's Trey Lance. So
How did we know?
that's
Do
a
we know
win.
that for sure, Ray?
He's got this shoulder thing happening right now. It's Trey Lance.
Okay.
Jimmy Garoppolo has
it'll probably be Trey Lance.
If it's Trey Lance, I'm taking the Bears.
So they
There
still
you
got
go.
DLo
So then-
on that team though, right?
Hey, let me tell you, Junior. You know,
People
last
can't beat
year
us
in
by
the
no
home
means.
opener, the Bears beat the Bengals. You know, I played the clip earlier, Roquan Smith with the pick 6. You know, the Bears do start hot at home. They are a tough team to beat unless you're Green Bay. They are a tough team to beat in their home openers. That I've seen it. I go to the games and I can feel good about picking them. They barely lost to the Niners last year.
Say something.
And they did not play well. They didn't force a punt.
Yeah, they should have won.
Trey and I went to that game.
As the great
great
Hawk Harrelson once said, "Don't matter who you play, it matters when you play them."
Exactly.
If the Chicago Bears would have played the Cincinnati Bengals in Week 15, we'd have lost 50-5.
But that's why that's why there is logic.
Week 1, right?
But that's why there's logic to the Bears beating the Niners.
Mentality I want you to have when we make these picks is if you were putting your hard-earned money on what team to win.
Right.
I don't.
And I'm telling you, I would bet the Bears to win, especially if Trey Lance is playing. Just for the reason you mentioned, it's not when you play, who you play.
This is what's very funny to me is everyone always says, "Well, Trey Lance is a rookie. You know, it's a new thing to him." Well, according to Bears Twitter, this is Justin Fields' first real season because last year was a wash.
It's not a wash, Junior. You know better. You know it's not a wash. He has a game experience.
But that's what everyone's telling me. Everyone's telling me this is all new to Justin
Fields. The NFL is a whole different thing.
When Bears fans are holding accountability to Justin Fields, it'll be a lot more better. We got people sitting here saying, "Oh, well, Justin, one interception was a tip pass, or this was that, but no one wants to look at the touchdowns that were a total of 4 yards through the air and Jakeem Grant running 60 yards for a touchdown. I don't get it.
Excuse me.
You know what?
This touchdown is as cool and epic as they get. Look at this 4-yard slant, baby.
You better tell him. You better tell him, Greg.
We need touchdowns like that.
Pull up.
Well, they had to get to that point of the field, right? Didn't they?
Thank you.
There we go. There we go. Thank you, Trey. They got to get there first, and that's a struggle. Hey, since we're pulling up highlights, pull up the one touchdown he threw to Rasul Douglas because that was beautiful. You can't teach that.
Listen, I don't have that one in the.
Well, I know you don't. I know you don't. You're an eternal optimist. I missed
putting that one in there.
I know.
No, you said it. It's not when you play; it's who you play. It's when you play them.
Okay, so
by that logic, the Bears could win. Then
the Niners don't know what the Bears are trying to do on either side of the ball with a new system. So there is that element of surprise.
Okay, so if we're going to say
– our coach knows all about the 49ers, right?
That's true.
All about them.
If we're going to say because the Bears are good in their home opener of the year, then week 2 better be an L from all y'all.
Week 2 is a damn L for me.
Because before any of y'all try to give me some optimism, you're going into Green Bay against Daddy Rodgers on Sunday Night Football. We're getting embarrassed. We're getting embarrassed.
To be clear, though, Trey, did you have the Niners winning or the Bears?
Well, I picked the Bears now.
Oh my God!
All right, so
I mean, it's like, why not?
Trey.
I mean, it's not like, oh no, the scary 49ers now. The week 2.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I don't look at the 49ers and think, fuck, this team went to the NFC Championship game. Like, no, I don't think of that. But I just think they're a better team.
Did we barely beat them last year, or did we almost beat them last year?
Hey, let me ask you a question. Did we beat them? Did we beat them?
No, we didn't. We did.
There's no should have.
We could have won that game for sure because the defense.
Oh, you know what? And the Bengals should have won the Super Bowl.
They should have.
But they still took an L. So okay,
you get some heat in the chat here, Junior. You got
okay. You give me heat all they want.
We got a lot of heat in the hat. We got a lot of heat.
They can't look in the mirror and realize the kind of team they have. A loser mentality. Chubbs, stop it.
All right.
Yeah.
So week 2 is an L, right? L, definitely.
Yeah, week 2 is an L. Week 2 is an L.
I'm taking an L. Because here's the thing: when you're playing Rodgers,
Houston's coming into. Oh, go ahead.
When you play the Packers, like Ray's pointing out, well, we almost beat them. All right, but Rodgers is always going to have that checkmate, right? So they could play an even better game, and Rodgers is going to match that every time. The Bears,
but
to beat the Packers, have to play a pretty flawless game. Granted, they don't have the wide receiver. Rodgers doesn't have his release, his safety valve anymore.
Two missing. He's got Valdez-Scantling gone too.
Right. Even with that being said, I still can't pick the Bears to beat the Packers.
I don't know who they're.
Who are the Packers receivers?
They got Christian Watson.
It's aisle 7 grocery getter, and he's probably better than whatever we have. So next team is Houston. Houston coming to Chicago. I think we all have a W.
There's 2-1, baby.
They might be one of the worst team in the NFL. The following week, you're going to New York to play the Giants. I have the Bears
win. So we're at 3-1.
3-1.
I'm at 2-2.
We're at
Week
3-1.
Week 5, you're going to Minnesota. That's an L for me. That's an L for me. And the reason being,
I'll say an L because it's at Minnesota, and I'm trying to be fair to the conversation, and without knowing what their offensive line is yet.
It's not that Cousins scares me. What I'm afraid of. So I've been to a lot of Bears games. I've been to a lot of Bears games in the past 4 years, and every time I've gone to a Vikings game, Dalvin Cook has been stopped when Akeem Hicks is on the field. There's no Akeem Hicks on the field anymore, and that scares me a little bit. I have the Vikings winning that game.
I'll probably go with Vikings.
What are you taking, Ray?
I have that. I have that as an L, actually.
All right, so I'm at 4-2. Ray's at 4-2. Trey, you got the Bears losing that game?
Yeah.
So I'm at 4-2, and Junior over here is
we have 4-2 is week 5.
It's 3-2.
Yeah,
3-2. We're all at 3-2, and you're at 2-3.
Yeah, 3-2.
All right, week 6. Yeah. Week 6 now.
Keep track of your own damn win-loss totals because I'm going to get this fucked up.
I don't have that many fingers, Greg.
Week 6 is in Chicago, but it's also in a short week. So I'm giving the Bears a dub. One, because it's against Carson Wentz, and I don't think they're going to do much. And they're also on a short week traveling. That's a W for the Bears, in my opinion.
Okay.
These are these two games, Washington and then New England, are the two games I'm most excited for this season, because last year I felt like Justin Fields only had one moment, and that was against the Steelers in a loss in prime time, where he really showed what he could potentially become, the kind of guy that even when you're down, because if you watch Mahomes versus Josh Allen, they're going back and forth, and it doesn't matter if you leave them 1 minute, they're scoring in 10 seconds. You leave them 50 seconds, they're scoring in the next 50, like back and forth. You have to have that kind of a quarterback. And Justin showed that for one night against the Steelers, and that gave me a lot of optimism about the future of his career. And so I'm hoping in this Washington game or the New England game, I take both, or I'll take one or the other, but I want to see him have that transcendent moment, welcome to the NFL type of moment that I kind of feel like was never really facilitated, because if the Steelers game was it was in a loss. So I blame a lot of that on Matt Nagy, but at this point, Matt Nagy's not here anymore, so that excuse is now gone. And, maybe there will be other excuses that we can go over this year, but at this point, I want Justin Fields to have 4, 5, or 6 moments, and I want at least one of them to be in this game and or the New England Patriots game, which follows. So I'm taking the Bears to beat the Washington Commanders at home on the lakefront Thursday Night Football.
All right.
4-2.
Me too. Win.
All right. Week 7, you're traveling to,
and you're 3-3.
You're traveling to New England, like Greg just said, on Monday night. That's an L for me, dog.
Extended rest.
I got that.
Belichick and
That's Belichick, baby.
10 days to study
I don't give a
for.
damn.
That's Belichick.
I think that's going to be one of them low-scoring games like that. Maybe New England.
They're going to start to find the Bears will start to find their stride that week, and they're going to start.
So?
Oh,
So
absolutely!
Trey, you got him losing.
I think they're going to lose a close game that's in the teens. It's going to be one of those boring games where
I hope it's
who's the quarterback in New England?
Mac
Enough said.
What's his face?
That is why I'm picking the Bears to win that game because
they have a good defense, though.
That's the problem. That's the problem with Bears fans. They're like, who's the quarterback over there? Mac Jones. That's why we're winning. Like, bro, we've lost to Kirk Cousins before. Like, stop.
We have, but we have.
I am the hopeless
we're not losing
romantic.
to Mac Jones.
I am the one that thought
you got bigger titties than
Mitch.
Hey, man.
I'm the one that thought Mitch Trubisky was going to be something, so I'm always wrong. I get that, but to me, this is Justin Fields' moment against Mac Jones in New England on the prime time. I think it's either Sunday or Monday night game. I think it's Sunday night. Justin Fields was taking over Mac Jones. They're always going to be compared. And I know Justin Fields has that competitive blood in him, a lot like Derrick Rose. And, I don't know what the offensive line is going to be. So I'm taking a leap of faith here. But if I have the Bears at 4-2 at this point, they have momentum going into that game. They have extra rest going into that game. And this is why I'm not just looking at the paper and looking at the players on the roster. I'm looking at the moment. And so if they are in that momentum swing, they're 4-2. Now they're playing the biggest game they played in years, on the primetime stage against Mac Jones, they're always going to be pitted against each other. I'm taking Justin Fields. I know they don't play each other. You play their defenses, and Bill Belichick is looming on that other sideline.
You guys got your ticket to the most important game in February for the Bears versus whoever? Because y'all got the Bears going to the Super Bowl.
I'm sitting at 5-2 now.
Stop it. I'm at 5-2. I'm at
4-3. I just think, our offensive line gets exposed a little bit that game, and it's going to be like one of those.
I'm at
like those field goal games. It's gonna be one of those ugly games.
And Junior's at 3-4, Trey's at 4-3, and Ray and I are drinking the whiskey, and Will is getting angrier by the second, knowing that we have this team at 4-2 or 5-2.
Yeah.
One went away from there, predicted a win total for the.
So Trey, where you at now? Where you at now?
I'm
Trey?
at 4-3.
4-3, and you're at 3-4, right, Junior?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Week 8
that's an L.
Going to Dallas. That's an L.
That's an L right
there.
It's an L. It's an L.
I don't know.
What about you,
I'm gonna say we win that game because
oh
I'm
my
going
fucking
to it.
god!
You're going to it? Oh, Trey's going.
Hey, if you're a good luck charm, you need to go to all 17. I'll buy you all 17 right now.
Well, I am 1-1. Like first game. Remember when I think he threw like what's his name? What's his face? Who's an announcer now? And he's like super annoying.
Romo?
Yeah, Romo. Yeah. Yeah, Romo threw like 4 picks. Briggs had a pick 6.
Pick 6.
I remember that game.
Yeah, that's the game I was at.
Great game.
Lost my voice.
I'm at 3-5.
Hester had a touchdown. I was at that game as well.
Week 9, Miami comes to us. That's an L.
That's an L. That's where he loses me every time.
Miami's a really good
Tua
team.
Tagovailoa is going to come up.
It's not really about the quarterback. They have a good football team.
They're a good football team. You're
Miami
again. That's the problem with Bears fans.
They don't have the same coach.
What do you think?
Their coach is gone.
Oh yeah,
Brian Flores is not coaching them no more. Thank you.
Let me tell you what.
Flores is
their coach is gone.
That's fine. That's true. Flores is gone.
Here, Fields lighting up the third string Dolphins, so you better pump your brakes.
Amazing. Hey, let me see. Hey, no. Actually, play that one more time. I need to see that really quick.
That was preseason.
Oh wait,
right?
who is that? One more time, Braggs, please.
Jesse James.
Or is that
Where's
you,
the corner?
Junior?
Where's the corner? Oh, right. The corner number 25 was on the sideline in street clothes. Xavier Howard. That's who I was looking for.
What about this play? Look at this. The Dolphins, look at them falling all over themselves. They can't keep up with this kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Look at that.
I'll tell you something, man. All I know is Brian Flores is not on the other side over there coaching that team.
Wait, one more time. Let me see if Melvin Ingram was on the field. No, I don't see him out there either. That's crazy.
Everyone's just in awe of Justin Fields' greatness.
Man,
look at how this lady
he's got that aura around him, like
and
like
look
Jordan.
at how this lady just spawns up. Watch here.
No.
Anyway,
No.
I'm at 3-6.
6-3 on my end. 6-3.
So
the Dolphins are not going to be tough in Chicago in November. Forget about that.
What's the date on that one, Ray? Because that's a good point.
That is November 6th.
It's still going to be warm around November 6th.
Not for them. Not for them.
Go to Atlanta next week after that.
I don't say fair weather. All I know
is that
it's
a welcome to the big leagues moment for Kyler Gordon on Tyreek Hill?
Week 10, Detroit comes.
Hold on. I didn't pick. But I do have the Bears losing that game. So I'm now at what? 5-4.
No, we're at 6.
How many games have we played?
5-4. Yeah, we're both.
Oh, you're at 5-4. Oh, you picked the L for that one.
The week before. I got them losing. 5-4.
To who? The Dolphins or to the Cowboys?
Dolphins and Cowboys.
You got them losing to the Dolphins.
I'm sorry, they lose to the Cowboys.
Okay.
Now the momentum slips a little.
Right, I got you.
They come back home and lose a close one.
So are they going to go on a slide and lose to the Lions that next week?
Boinks it or some crazy shit happens. They lose 5-4. You can't win them all.
All right, so you got week 10.
Stay on the slide? Week 10 at the Lions.
Detroit?
The Lions come here.
Detroit comes to us. I think that's a dub for all of us.
Dub. Prove it, Detroit. You think every year Detroit's like, we're going to be better than you this year. And every year they're wrong.
James, that's a W. We all know that.
Okay.
So I'm at
right,
4 and 6.
So you're at 4 and 6. That I'm at was that 6-4? Yeah, I think I'm at 6-4.
I'm at 6-4. I think you're at 7.
No, you're at 7.
I'm at 7-3.
Yeah, you're 7-3.
You're fucking
Woodford Reserve. Chugga. Getting you to that
You are drunk.
I'm not.
I'm 6-4. I got them beating Detroit. It's at home, right?
Okay,
Week 11.
Yeah, it's at home.
It doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
Detroit.
Look, we're going to
but 40 minutes ago, Detroit was this great team because they got a new winning culture and everything.
They still lose.
Hey, well, according to Ray's terminology, we almost lost to them. So maybe they have this mindset that they can beat us now. So
We've been almost losing to them for how many years?
Chubbs is at 10-0.
Week 11.
Chubbs is at 10-0. I'm at 6-4. Ray's at 7-3. Junior, you're at.
I'm at 4 and 7. I think 4 and 6.
Yeah, because we're
4 and 6.
I'm at 4 and 6. 4 and 6.
And you are Trey. What are you at? I'm at
6-4.
6-4. You're at 6-4.
Yeah.
You fucking copycat.
Oh, we got different games lost.
All right, fine.
All right, week 11. You're going to Atlanta. That's a W.
Dub.
Atlanta sucks. Dub.
I'm trying to go to that game too.
I'm trying to go to that one too.
Yeah.
Week 12.
There'll be a lot of Bears fans there too. That's something you also always have to take into account when the Bears go on the road to places like Dallas and Atlanta and some of those cooler stadiums. Bears fans show up, especially if they're not sucking.
Week 12, you're going to New York in Jets weather.
Yeah, so this is the
game
where I said. So, well, see, this is a game where I said they're gonna fumble the bag, kind of like they did when they went to the Giants a couple years ago, and we were like, how the fuck did they lose that game in overtime? They're gonna lose.
So they're gonna have ball. They're gonna have bad ball security here.
I don't know about ball security. Thank you, Junior, for trying to poke the bear. But no, I don't know if it's ball security that's going to kill us. But I think that they're just going to be in a fog, and they're going to be out there in New Jersey sniffing that the fucking cannolis over there. You know what I mean?
Hey, what you got?
I've got the Bears beating the Jets. Forgive me, but Zach Wilson I'm not a big Zach Wilson guy. He's like Kyler Murray, you know. Kyler's had some good moments, but also can be limited with his size, and you can only run around so much for dear life and huck it and chuck it, and that's kind of what Zach Wilson does. Could he get hot? It's at the Jets, so they have that. But again, I guarantee Bears fans are going to travel for that game.
They're going to travel.
So right now I have the Bears at 7-4, coming off a win in Atlanta, riding the momentum. Now we are 8-4. I'm already past the 7.
Hey, listen, y'all got me back to 6-6. This is going to be a good last.
I'm trying to tell you. I knew it, Junior. I freaking knew it.
I've already done this schedule.
You better have listen
Here
out,
comes
Junior.
you scumbag.
They are losing
It's coming. It's coming,
out.
you scumbag. Listen, what's the next one? The next one's a big one. At home.
Yeah. Green Bay comes to us. That's a fucking L. That's an L.
L.
That's a win. That's a win.
Oh my fucking God.
That is a dub. Justin Fields.
I'm not even
That's
a Justin's still healthy.
You know what? This is my motherfucking stadium. This is my motherfucking city.
Hey, he really said that last year too.
Hey,
he said that last year too.
Come on, stop it.
Anyway. Momentum train would, in my theory, because they've won 2 in a row now. And is that one at home against Green Bay?
It's at home. Yep.
Ooh, the momentum train really.
Man,
they're 8-4 going in.
They lose a close one. It's respectable though.
Hear me out for a sec. It's week 13. The NFC North is probably the worst division in football. The Packers have a chance to wrap up the division in week 13. So let's just
listen.
Knowing our luck,
they're 8-4 going to the lakefront, they'll flex that game to prime time. It'll be the biggest game at Soldier Field since the playoffs against the Eagles. The place will be jumping, but I'll still take Aaron Rodgers because I'm going to be part of the situation. And he's kind of just beating me down mentally these last few years. And
I'm a little upset because I won't say the Bears are 11-0 at this point.
Chubbs is a very prideful Bears fan.
That's fine. He can be prideful all he wants. I hope you hold pride when your team's 6-11 this year.
Hey, Chubbs, make sure you follow me on Twitter, man.
You don't want to tickle
S_K_Pow, man. Hey,
all right, buddy.
Follow me. I need to talk to Chubbs because he's a vet. So I need to talk to him, but at the same time, he's telling Junior he sucks Aaron off.
That's all right.
He's crazy. There's no question.
Hey, Chubbs. Just like me and you, we're both Bears fans, and Aaron Rodgers still owns us, bud. That's just facts.
Oh my God! All right, so we got the bye week that week, and then we going Eagles and Bears.
L.
See, you see what I'm saying? This fucking scumbag right here.
Eagles at Bears.
Eagles at Bears.
That's that Eagles.
I'm at 8-5 now.
The Eagles are going to be better than most.
Eagles
next
year. They just got the wide receiver from Tennessee, AJ Brown, big time talent.
They got a lot of speed.
If he can stay healthy. I'm not a big Jalen Hurts guy. My buddy on Twitter, B Schultz, is a fun Bears follow. Has some good opinions and thoughtful opinions on the Bears. He's a huge Jalen Hurts guy, but I have a friend that's a diehard Eagles fan, so I somewhat follow them closer than you would typically as a Bears fan. And I'm not that impressed with Jalen Hurts. I feel like he underthrows a lot of passes. I understand there's times where, players don't come down with the catch and he makes a good throw, but I don't think the arm talent is completely there with Jalen. Jalen certainly can run with the football and he can make some passes. That being said, it's at home. This is so tough because that would be in my world of 8-5 right now. Just coming off a loss. It's kind of money on the table time. I want to talk myself into a win, but I'm going to take the Eagles at 8-6. I'm pathetic.
You want to take the Eagles?
Hey, Chubbs.
I'm taking the Eagles, and I'm following my record at 8-6.
Tell him quit sucking Aaron Rodgers' nuts. Jalen Hurts is nuts, whatever you want to say. How dare you, Bragg, say they're going to lose? How dare you? All right. Next.
So wait, I'm at 8-6. Ray, you're at what?
I'm at
10-4.
No, 9-4. 9-4.
I'm at 6-8.
No, because we're at an even number right now. It's 8-6.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I had a loss in there. The Jets lost. So yeah, 9-5.
9-5. Trey.
I'm at 8-6.
8-6. Fucking copycat now, Junior. Junior, what are you at?
6-8.
6-8. Okay.
Week 16. The Bills come in here and fucking destroy.
That's a win. That's an L.
Oh my fucking. Okay.
Who are they playing?
He said
Bills.
Bills
I mean,
at home.
I was
That's
looking.
an L.
Yeah, that's an L.
It don't matter if we're playing in fucking Puerto Rico.
It don't matter where we're playing now.
Look at all it took for Mahomes to beat Josh Allen and the Bills in the playoffs last year.
Hey, Liam, I'm gonna say whatever I want to say. I'll make another meme out of you, so you need to chill.
Hey, Chubb's sitting here saying in the chat, I know Greg, and every week he'll say going to win and make a case why they're going to win. I can find a way every week to tell you how 100%. They can win.
See, okay.
Right.
See,
but let me finish, Junior. But I was picking for a newsletter the Midway Minute last year, and I did come in second in my win-loss total on picking the Bears last year. I think I went like 13-4 or 14-3. So you say that, but at the same time, it was a little easier to pick Nagy's Bears. Though
I want to call out. I want to call out Chubbs here because again, this is what Bears fans love to do, right? Josh Allen also lost his offensive coordinator. I mean, these coaching losses matter to these quarterbacks, but we have the Bears winning games they shouldn't win when they're on a first-year coaching regime. I'm so confused by that.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen knows what he's doing by now.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. Is please don't say like, oh, Josh Allen lost his quarterback coach, and then say Justin Fields is gonna like take this brilliant step to a top 5, top 10 quarterback with Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus at the helm. Just be a little realistic.
Yeah. And if Josh Allen can't play that week because he's too scared to come to the lakefront, they don't have Mitch either.
Now, like Chubbs just said, how Greg can make a case every week. I am a scumbag. You're right, and you spelled it with a K. I love it.
Yeah, that's love it. That's love.
Anyway, you could. But I also think that goes for every fan in the league. Is
every team.
You can always look at your team and be like, okay, we're going to win because of this. We're going to win because of this. Or, hey, we might lose because of this. Like you said, a lot of it matters who plays, who's hot, who's cold, and everything. Who knows? Josh Allen could be fucking hurt come week 16, and obviously the tides will change. But right now, the Bills will beat us.
Yeah, right.
Well,
right
you're
now,
not calling in this week.
Later on,
we all got
the Bills will beat us.
So I got them. Wait. The Josh Allen. So they're losing. I had it. 8-7 for me.
8-7.
8-7. 6-9, and Ray is at 9-6.
I hope
Ray's
Ray's
right. Way to 11.
Hey, look at next week. Look at the next week.
Okay,
we play the next week.
Detroit Lions.
We're taking
10-7.
Dub.
I'm telling y'all, it's 10-6. Look at this comeback.
I'm not being a scumbag.
Oh my God! He's picking the Lions. Yeah.
I mean, but what's your reason? What, just because? What?
We're traveling, and since every other Bears fan and Ray over here wants to say, well, did we barely lose to them or did we barely beat them? We barely beat Detroit. So if we go
all the time, though, we barely beat them.
We barely beat them. And you know what? Listen, see, that's the thing is like you could, and we said it an hour ago. Detroit was in just about every game last year, and they played hard every single.
Hold you. They were.
And you know what? You know what? If you want to say they're going to play hard every single game like they have been, it's also a division game. I don't care if you're 2-14. That last game of the season, if it's a division game, you're going to play your fucking ass off. It means something to you to be able to talk shit to your division opponents and be like, yeah, well, I beat you. Detroit's going to beat us in week 16 or week whatever it is, week 17.
I don't know. Hey, Greg, what you got for that one, Greg?
I got the Bears winning, so now I am at 9-7 on the season.
You are at 9-7. Yes, you are, my friend.
Yeah, fuck the Lions. I'm not picking the fucking Lions.
At least that's Detroit is not good. I know you root for everything Detroit, but the Bears are not good either. So just
I mean,
look at Montgomery bowl over the entire Detroit defense.
If I have to put money on,
let's run them.
I would bet. I would put my money on the Bears to beat Detroit every time.
Fair enough.
9-7.
All right, so we got one game left, guys, and right now I'm sitting at 10-6.
So that's week 18. It's in Chicago.
That's a fucking win.
God damn you, Junior.
Minnesota is going to be playing for something.
That's a backwards L.
Whatever. There you go. Whatever you want.
Yeah, we're going to win by field goal right there.
Yeah. Sure. No. Minnesota, I think, is going to be playing for something. I think they're going to be in the wild card hunt just about the whole season. And I don't like Minnesota, but that offense is fucking good. Okay. And we can sit here and say, like, oh, the Bears got a lot of new fun toys on defense, but we don't know what it's going to be. We really do not. There's a lot of kids on that defense. When you look at that secondary, sure, Brisker and Eddie Jackson can have a good season. And I've said it before in the spaces. I've said it on my own podcast.
Yeah.
You're going to have weeks where quarterbacks cannot throw against this secondary. And then you're going to have weeks where a quarterback's going to come in and there's 350 yards. So I have them losing. I do have them losing.
Okay. Well, I
don't know why you think they're so good. I don't know why you think the Bears are so good. Their offensive line's unproven. Holy shit. This is what I'm getting at. Look in the mirror and realize who your team is. You don't even know who's starting at right guard. You know who's going to be your starting right guard? Fucking Dakota Dozier, the same guy who got cut from Minnesota.
He's hurt.
Oh my, yeah. Well, he'll probably still start. It doesn't matter.
It's going to be your boy Sam Mustipher.
It's not my boy. That's Holland's boy. That's Holland's boy.
So you got him finally to 11-6, Ray.
I did.
Junior, you got him at. How did they finish the season for you, Junior?
6-11.
6-11.
Yeah,
losing 5 straight.
Now I'll say this because everyone, and I know Elise, I want you to hear this, sweetie. I know everyone looks at me and says, Justin Fields, you fucking hate. You can't find one tweet. You can't find one soundboard or anything like that. Me saying Justin Fields is a bust, a bum, trash, or anything like that.
Except right now.
I do. No. Hey, calm down, man. The tweet I saw earlier of ESPN saying he's going to lead the league in interceptions. That's not happening. That's not happening. I do think Justin Fields takes a step in the right direction. I'm not going to say he takes that step because I do think he does need a year with this offense, with these weapons. But I think if I'm taking anything out of this, I think Justin Fields puts the league on notice. Please record this so you can send this to Dan.
This is all recorded.
Justin Fields puts the league on notice and shows that he's here to fucking bring that Lombardi back to Chicago whenever it may be. I do think he has the it factor. I think he has the talent. I just want to see consistency. All I want to see. That's all I want to see.
I despise the ones who use busting Fields, and I just want to say that Shy Sports fan. I get, that sounds pretty cool, and like
Chubbs, win-loss is a terrible stat for quarterbacks. If that's the case, Mr. Trubisky's still starting in Chicago. But go ahead, Ray.
It's just like you're calling a kid a bust after 1 year in the circumstances that he was under, and you just disregard the fact that he's been a winner at every level since high school. Even though Junior says he's been injured, he has been injured. I mean, gonna hold you. Me and Junior had this discussion numerous times, and he has been injured, but he's also played through those injuries, and it's called football. Basically, you're gonna get hurt. People get hurt. It's what you do when you fall down and get up 7 times. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's like, what is it? What's the thing? You fall down 7 times, but you get up 8. You feel me? And that's Justin. You feel me? So
you gotta understand, this guy is a walking, talking troll. He was in your space the other day.
Okay.
And I tried to get him to talk.
My bad.
We brought up Vucevic.
My bad.
I want to get him.
I'm sorry.
At least a voice to this Twitter account that's always on my ass, or at least if he comes on the show, a face to the Twitter account that's always on my ass, because it would be nice to put one of the two, face or voice. But he got too scared when we were in the spaces, and he ran off. But he says that he's going to come into the spaces and talk.
Come in anytime. There's a lot of scumbags in there.
I gave an optimistic thought, and I've also given a negative thought. I want each of you to give a positive thought and something where you're like, man, this can go very wrong?
Well, hold on real quick because we got you at 6 wins. We got Ray at 11-6. Trey, you had him at 9-7 at this point in the last game of the season against Minnesota.
Yeah, we won. Yeah,
we won 10 wins.
10-7. Look at that. See?
Yeah.
And I'm going the same way. They're beating Minnesota last game of the year. I just don't have it in my heart to pick against the Bears to close the season at home against Minnesota. And you like that, Kirk Cousins. I will say I was getting a little saucy picking the Bears to win back-to-back against Washington and New England. So I have them at 10 wins. But, if I was trying to be realistic, maybe they don't beat New England and they're at 9 wins. But I'm sticking to what I'm picking.
But look,
and I got them at 10.
They can definitely lose in Dallas, but I'm just picking them to win. That's all.
But look,
and this was a good exercise, Ray, because as you go through it week to week and you consider the different variables, when they play them, where they play them, what kind of winning streak or losing streak are they on, it does kind of, we almost even got Junior to pick him to 7 wins, and then he just tanked us.
Let me let you know something.
Now hear me out. Like we had said a little bit ago, I have them at 6-11, but like Herm Edwards says, difference between a 7 and a 10 win team is 5 plays. Something can roll their way. There's always one game a year for every team that you're going to win that you shouldn't, and there's always one game a year most of the time that you're going to lose that you shouldn't. So again, they can win 7 games, they can win 10. I have them today at 6-11.
And I think we can all agree that
there we go.
Preseason.
If there is those 5 games that are, determined by 1 or 2 plays, those are going to be determined by whether or not they're wins and losses by how this offensive line comes together. If it doesn't come together, they're losing those games. If it does come together, they got a real puncher's chance to surprise some people this year. And that's why I don't begrudge anybody for being optimistic. I don't begrudge the cynicals like Junior over here, because you can also understand without knowing what their offensive line is going to be.
I like that word.
In the depth, the guys get injured. Wide receiver depth is an issue. If one of these guys go down, God forbid, if Darnell Mooney goes down, they're in trouble at the wide receiver position. So you just don't know. Zack Pearson, who from the Bear Report, was on with us earlier tonight. He talked about the pass rushing being a concern. Yeah, the secondary looks like it could be improved, but if they aren't getting to the quarterback, can we depend on some young secondary guys? Yes, they got Eddie Jackson back there playing, center field, but, can Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker hold their guys, especially being new to the league? That's a lot to ask. The Bears need a lot of things to go right in order for the Bears to get to 10 wins like I'm picking, or 10 wins like Trey's picking, or 11 wins like Ray's picking. We're drinking the Kool-Aid tonight.
We are drinking the Kool-Aid
Junior's
tonight.
staying level-headed, and I can respect that. But, at the end of the day, like Chubbs is beating, pounding the table about, we're Bears fans. So we are always going to have our Bears goggles on. It's hard to pick against them. It's much easier as you start watching the games week to week. Like I said, I think I picked them either I think I went 14-3 or 13-4 picking them last year. But that's because you can, as you watch them week to week, you can kind of sense what they're going to do the next week. Picking it right now and looking at the schedule, there's so many variables that you can't even take into consideration yet. There's our quarterback can be out, their quarterback can be out. You just don't know. There's so many different things that can go right or wrong that can, determine whether this is going to be, 6 wins again like last year, or a surprise team at 8, 9, 10 wins. So, I enjoyed the exercise, Ray. It was a good one.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I appreciate you allowing us to do that on here, bro. That was fun. Hey, Junior, somebody said you're a closet Packers fan.
Chubbs and Shy Sports fan are just coming at you. They're just.
Will called me, right?
He called me too, and he doesn't. I said already. We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes on the show. If Will calls in, will literally be up till 2 a.m. listening
Oh,
to
wow.
Will play the guitar while he calls us assholes. So I gotta work tomorrow, Will. As fun as that sounds, and I know there he is calling us
Will.
right now.
Will, before you got on,
there's Will at the bottom of the stairs in his mom's basement yelling at you guys.
Yeah,
Oh
Will,
my
we
God.
talked about you when DLo Brown was on, and we
tell
said
him
that
he's a heel.
you're the heel. You'd be a great heel in the WWF. Maybe, he's a man that wears many hats, but maybe we could get him into the WWE. Who knows?
He'll walk in with his trophy.
His little participation, or just handing them out to, like he has a fucking wheelbarrow full, and he's just handing them out as he goes to the ring.
Not for nothing. That's the same size as the disrespectful WNBA.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What's that? I like this.
I'm like, what is this?
Will had to love
You're trying to hold it.
They got that shit. They got that shit.
I guarantee Will loved the Summer League.
I got a new phone. These new phones don't have headphone jacks, so I can't put you in.
That looks like, look at, he's calling again. That looks like an Android tray. I'm Team Android all day. All right, well, let's wrap this baby up. We're sitting at 2 hours and 40 minutes. Ray, once again, final thoughts and let people know where they can find you, and maybe a quick rundown on what you're up to as far as the Ray's Juke Joint.
All right, so real quick. So if you don't follow me on Twitter, follow me at S_K_P. That's _Powell. That's my personal account. And then follow at FTBC 22 for Ray's Juke Joint podcast. And so during the White Sox games, if you're watching the White Sox, if you're a White Sox fan,
you
come
ain't even
over.
got to be a White Sox fan.
You really don't. Yeah, just be a sports fan in general. We do have a Cub fan limit in the Juke Joint. It's a 2 Cub fan limit.
Really?
Yeah. Only 2 Cubs fans get a microphone at a time.
They're gonna have to change that though, Trey, because there's more and more people coming into the spaces.
Right, but it's a 2 microphone limit for the Cubs fans. So y'all only get 2 microphones. There you go. So that's it. So 2 microphones for you. So many Cubs fans can come in as you want, but there's only 2 of y'all gonna get to speak, and it's gonna rate the rest of y'all that whole time. But having said that, come into the space, have a good time, enjoy sitting around the bar with the scumbags while we talk sports, man. That's really what it is. And then be on the lookout for the first podcast drop ever from Ray's Juke Joint. Myself, Eric, and Elise, we're going to be dropping some heat real soon. This week, it'll be on all the platforms. Maybe not Apple this time. I'm waiting on the authorization, but definitely Spotify, Anchor, and whatever other things that they put out right there. So be on the lookout for that.
Sounds good, and I'll definitely promote it on my channels. And if you ever need any help or advice, just let me know. Although I don't know what
I will reach out to you.
I don't know half of what the fuck I'm doing, but I'll give you whatever I know.
I'll reach out to all you guys.
Junior, final thoughts and where people can find you and what you're up to in the podcast world.
Yeah, so this was fun. This was actually a lot of fun. Like I said earlier with DLo Brown, like that's someone I grew up watching every Monday, like going to school, racing home, play with the friends, and then at 7 o'clock, like I was tuned into TV, watching Nation Domination, DX, all that. So that was cool. Sitting here, bullshitting with you guys, shooting the shit, talk about the Bears. Always fun to talk about the Bears. 90% of that. Everyone, see, that's the thing. People don't know. I love my White Sox, but I love my Bears even more. I know people hear my takes and they're like, "This guy's crazy." I try to be as level-headed as possible. I'd like him to go 12-5 too, but I just don't think it's possible. As far as where I'm at Bad Guy Radio. We're on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, everything. Go follow us at Bad Guy Radio. Who is that? Is that Will? Is that the one in his mom's basement with the little participation trophy? Is that him? Yeah,
that one, definitely Will. That's definitely Will.
I'll tell you what, man. I got some stairs at the bottom of my basement. You give me $100 a month for rent, you can come take as many selfies as you want at the bottom of my basement, right? Anyway, yeah, follow us on Bad Guy Radio. It's a lot of fun talk. Who called me King James? Your mom. But anyway, this is fun. I want to do this again closer to Bears season, get a better perspective. better perspective of this team come preseason and cut down to 53-man roster and go from there. So I really do appreciate it.
Of course, and did you mention Bad Guy Radio and what you're up to on that end?
Yeah, so they have a few different so obviously the name of his Bad Guy Radio, but usually there's a few different like actual shows that they do. I do every Wednesday night, and it gets released either Thursday morning, maybe sometimes Thursday night. It's called Black and White. Usually we talk about the White Sox. We will talk more about the Bears when that time comes around, but right now it's mainly just White Sox because it is the middle of the summer. There's no other sport going on, but when like the Bulls come around, the Bears come around, we are deep into that as well. Again, come August, once the preseason starts and they start the preseason games, then obviously September 11th, week 1, we're going to go full in on the Bears. So it's going to be fun. Tune in, listen. Like I said, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. It's really a lot of fun.
Sounds good, and Will's going to take you up on that offer. So good luck to you on that front. Once you get Will, you're stuck with Will. So all right, well, we're going to cut you guys loose. Yeah, I appreciate all your time tonight. It was a lot of fun. You guys, I'm glad you guys were able to meet DLo. Wanted to put the bridge to that because I would like him to hop in the spaces one night. I think he would really enjoy that with everybody else. I was thinking of other guys that are part of the scumbags to come on, but I just figured I didn't want too many cooks in the kitchen, and I thought this was a healthy balance as best we could. But here we are charging up to about 3 hours on a show. But I thought a very enjoyable one, so I'm glad. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. But I'll cut you guys loose before me and Trey put a bow on this. So, Junior, Ray, I'll see you in the spaces.
Trey, I followed you today, bro. Follow me back.
Oh, okay, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, so we'll catch up real soon, and we'll do this again for sure, and revisit some of these discussions we've had later in the season.
Absolutely.
I want one more thing.
Uh-huh.
If you join, this is a warning. If you join Ray's Spaces after 11 p.m.,
no,
get set in that spaces. Get set in that spaces.
Right. I have to. I was. Thank you for bringing that up, Julia. I did mean to make sure that I said this. My wife is just like, hey, look here, man. You got to start, letting these mugs go. We got to go to bed. So whole time, so I'll be leaving, right? I'll be going to do other stuff, but at least we'll have her show, which is the after hours in the juke joint, so everybody knows to go to her space when she opens it up. And what's said in the after hours is a whole different thing because the scumbags just let loose when I'm not around.
Yeah,
they go crazy.
Some of those nights around the 4th of July that we went till like 2 in the morning.
2 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
A lot of crazy shit. And there's some. You think these guys are characters? Wait till you meet one guy named Justin in there.
You guys are gonna love Justin. Yeah,
he's the craziest. So, all right, we'll cut you loose. Will found his way in. You can say hi real quick, Will, and then I'm letting these guys go to bed.
Live from his mom's basement, everybody. Look at that. I love it. Hey, is that the trophy in the back? Oh man, look at. Oh,
hey, Will, did you just did a couple curls just now? You did a couple.
You're in your mom's basement, man. What the
my mom's basement. You want to see my mortgage statement? You want to see my mortgage statement?
Wait! You just said Junior. That might like me,
man. Offer was on the table, but it's gone now. Offer's gone now, man. Find a different.
Hey, dude. You know what? You know. I was gonna say that I might follow you, but you suck.
Junior, you think you're a troll on Twitter? Will, I say, Shy Sports Fan is a troll. Will is incessant. He won't stop.
Give your mom her shirt back. Her titties look better in it. Come on.
Last 2 weeks I was McKay, so I did a little bit of that. So, but Trey.
Let me let these guys loose. They got to get to bed.
Adios, gentlemen.
Anyway, guys,
we'll see you, Junior.
I want to say it was a great show, but don't say that I live in my mom's basement too. What did he go?
Right there.
I'm clear.
Trying to let
You
them
know what?
go to bed,
I
they've
want
been
to
on the
call
show.
you Jim
What did you
Carrey,
do,
bro.
Braggs?
Jim
What did you
Carrey.
Call me
do?
Jim Carrey. You know, I take
Jim
pride
Carrey.
in that. I take pride in that.
Jim Carrey, you know, like, come on, bro. Like, are you doing heroin?
What
What's
do
the
you
drug? What's going on?
you look like the big Sylvester Stallone. Put a few more needles in your
Yeah,
ass. You know, like
yeah.
a real
Hey,
one.
you know, hey.
Hey, right.
Hey.
What have you done?
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
It's gonna be a
dude.
5-star conversation from now on.
Yeah, this was a 5-star conversation.
Well, you know, like,
Fucking
you
awesome.
guys should like make up, and you know, you find a place where you guys can, you know, all get
You own a
together
different
and be
shirt?
like,
You
oh
own
my
a
God,
different
you're
shirt?
so
I'm sick
good,
of
you're
seeing
so
this.
beautiful. You know, you guys talk like everything is good. Oh, the Bears, 6-11, bro.
Junior
10-7,
picked them to win 6 games, Will.
No, I know, Junior. Yeah, I know, but Junior and I have a different fight.
This
The
is
fight.
paid promotion by his mom to him to say they're going to be 10-7.
Yeah, promotion from my man. You fucking idiot.
Oh my God.
But you know what? Like the Braggs, Trays, and I forgot you. My boy right here. I always love
Ray.
you.
I'm
Ray.
Ray.
There you go, Ray.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
man.
That's
I've
all
been
good,
working
G.
all day.
All good, G.
You guys should find a bed and you all spoon. That's what Bragg likes to do. He still chases me around because he wants to spoon with me. You know, like I'm like, what the fuck? Like, get
Whoa.
Greg.
Yeah,
Greg,
Junior,
it
you
ain't
didn't
so
know about
good.
this? You see,
Yeah,
Ray,
it ain't so
Will,
good.
Junior,
do you
have
have to give him the
you
whole
have
fucking? Do you have to
know
tell
the
him the
whole
$3-year
$3
story?
day. Take it easy, man.
Later, Ray. Thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. I'll see y'all later, man. I'm out.
The smart one leaves
Ray,
first.
take care, buddy.
Yeah. Will, you don't have to give him the fucking 2-year story right out the gate. I told him he can go to bed. Now you come on.
I am going to bed.
Come on. He's going to bed. Tell the story to him on Twitter or later.
Tell me
Junior, thanks for coming on tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Night.
Ray,
Pray for
I'm
us,
sorry.
Junior.
I forgot my Ray about it. Oh, it says Junior left too. All right.
They gotta go. We've been doing this for 3
All right,
hours.
guys.
All his 3 hours.
Right. Oh, for real? Oh my God.
Yeah,
all right.
3 hours. We started at 8 o'clock. It's 11 p.m. I got these big ass stone delay.
You send me the link to come on, bro. You send me the link right now.
You texted me and you said, give me 5 minutes. And then you start telling fucking Junior about our life story. He doesn't want to hear about how you lost a bet and how we have to spoon because you lost the bet. He doesn't need to hear because there's so much to that story that would take over 5 minutes.
No, I got you, bro. Anyway, too, I'm out, bro. I gotta take care of business.
This
too,
is amazing. Hey, if you're really out, you get a participation trophy for that.
All right, no. You know, I love you, boys. You know. Really proud, and Junior and Ray. So it's pretty awesome. You know, I come here. I just it's really sad now. You know, with Eddie, like the way he cried. At the Waddle and Sylvie.
Eddie Olczyk, yeah.
Eddie Olczyk. It broke my heart, man. I was like, listen, I was working. I'm like, oh my God. It was just really sad, you know.
Yeah, and he's one of the best to ever do it. So the Hawks messed up not keeping him around. But
what were they thinking?
All good things must come to an end, I guess, unfortunately. So we'll let you go to bed so
right,
Trey
guys.
and I can go to bed. We'll do another. We're going to have a live show this Saturday at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Near Comiskey. Here, I'll put the banner.
Comiskey?
Right down the street from Comiskey Park.
I'll be right there. I promise.
Look it from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This upcoming Saturday, just 5 days away. You can go to Buffalo Wings and Rings, 3434 South Halsted Street, Chicago, Illinois. You can meet Paul Konerko, and you can watch Trey and I and Johnny B talk sports, and we may even give you a microphone and let you scare some of the kids there, Will. So
no, guys, I will be there. I promise. I will be there. I have nothing going on this weekend.
Until you do.
Yeah. Well, no. I will be there Saturday.
Well,
we would love to see
the
you.
wife told
And
me
I'm
I
gonna
We
tell
want to
that
see the
Chicago
Carcinos.
really,
We want to
hopefully
see
Chicago
Will.
Rilla's there.
Want to see
Chicago
Beck and
Rilla,
John.
Big
We want to
Della,
see
everybody.
Chicago Rilla. We want to see all
I'll
you
be right
guys
there.
there.
Right.
But we
No, I
understand.
will be there. I will be there, and I'll
Right.
buy the first round rings.
All right. Well, Trey's got that look on his face like he wants to go to bed. So,
Yeah.
Will, good
No,
night.
he wants to go poop.
Oh man,
He's like, he can't hold it
I've
no
been
more.
drinking that. What? ISO tea, or how do you pronounce it? And ISO.
Oh, you've been drinking,
The
huh?
asshole finds
Yeah,
the tree. What?
it made me.
Yeah, Beck and John. It is early for the signing. The last one we did was later in the afternoon, but it normally goes off of the schedule of the player that's doing the signing. So I'm assuming that's when Paul Konerko needed it, was from 9:30 to 11:30. But we'll be there. Maybe if you want to show up a little later, closer to 11, we'll still be there bullshitting. We're not going to stay on forever.
I would not be asking for the Konerko signing. I will be asking him how did it feel when we knock him out right there.
Ooh.
You know, they knocked out for Konerko against the Cubs. I'm not gonna.
That
say
was
that, but
Pierzynski. That wasn't.
Oh
Konerko.
yeah, shit, Konerko. But he did.
Maybe
Konerko
got. Maybe he got punched too.
Yeah, Konerko.
And if not, maybe I'll punch him. I don't know. No, I like.
No, I will be a gentleman.
Paulie. All right. Good night, Will.
No, but I will be there. All right, guys. I'll see you there for sure. All right,
Thanks
guys.
for coming on. Stirring it up as per usual.
Right.
And then there were two, Trey and I, to wrap things up. Beautiful thing, Trey. We haven't done a show where, hold on. We haven't done a show from home in quite some time together.
Right. Yeah,
so it was nice to knock off the cobwebs, have a little fun, do our thing.
Yeah, definitely.
We got the music.
Got the background music. All right.
Finishing the night. Trey, any final thoughts or concerns?
What really concerns me is that this was good. I mean, it's always good to come and have good conversation, and I mean, I can't say how grateful I am that DLo Brown comes on the show and be able to talk to somebody. I'm such a huge fan of the WWE, and I just really appreciate DLo Brown coming and just talking to him, because I was a big fan of him in particular. I used to walk down the hallways of school like that, shaking my head and stuff. Like, even when I remember buying the WWE No Mercy games for Nintendo 64, and when you make your own customized wrestler, I would give them the DLo Brown walk when they come down. So it's just so crazy just talking to that person.
Right.
Yeah.
And how crazy is it, how passionate he is about the Bears? We could talk wrestling with him forever and be like Chris Farley in that SNL skit. Remember that time you did? That was awesome. And that's all we need. But for him, he wants to talk Bears, and it's just so cool to be able to have that round table, talk to Zack, and then do that with Ray and Junior, and just talk football, because for him, wrestling is 24/7, his whole life. So, to give him an escape to talk football, and we all find that common ground for the love of the Chicago Bears, is also really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. Just to even have that in common, was it's just so cool that he is a big Chicago fan, and to be able to just shoot the shit, just give your opinions, and here it is, and just the back and forth is real good, and just really did feel good doing the show again, and it's always so much fun, and all of that. I'm gonna try to get everything back up the way I had it before, but
sure.
Yeah, I can't do the horns or anything like that.
We know it's been a busy summer for you. Certainly been a busy summer for me as well, with my 4-year-old daughter and all the work and everything else I'm doing. It's hard to do it, but when we can, we want to keep everyone entertained and having fun. Chicago Rilla, again, it's this Saturday, July 23rd at from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. is the signing. Last time we went a little past the time of the signing ended and continued to talk, and we're live on the show. We'll try to keep this one nice and tight, but we'll be up there, so who knows when we'll completely wrap the show, but it is an early one. I think that's out of request for Paul Konerko, but it's at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 3434 South Halsted Street, Chicago, Illinois. If you're trying to get tickets, you can order them at www.makesigningsfunagain.com or also visit www.thecollectorscave.com for your memorabilia needs from them. But yeah, we'll be there this Saturday morning. The Sox play later that night at 6. I don't think I'm going to the game. Last time we did a show there, I went to the game and got drunk with Dustin Hermanson. I don't think I'm doing that this time, but we'll be hanging out at Buffalo Wings and Rings after the show's over too. So we'd love for whoever can come out to please come out and support what we're doing and have some fun and some laughs. But yeah, man, this has been good. It was cool to hang out with DLo, our guy DLo Brown, who's a huge supporter of what we do. Look at him wearing the Brags in the Stands special, the Fields Day shirt from our shirt store on Teespring. He's nice enough to give us promos like this.
This is DLo Brown. You better recognize right here, right now, we're listening to Brags in the Stand, the best Bears coverage ever. Believe that.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
pretty
damn cool. So, I think we covered all our bases. Bears football is coming up here, almost 10 days away from first open practice for fans for training camp at Hallis Hall. I'll be there when the weekend practice hits. Unless there's rainouts, then I'll fly on down the highway and try to make it to practice. But those are more short notice. But I will be at all the weekend practices. I will be at the Family Fest that's on a Tuesday morning or whatever. I'm going to go to the preseason game. So if you're at any of those events, let me know. I'll be happy to say what's up and maybe get a drink with you if you're around. I think that wraps things up for tonight. Trey, I always promo your stuff. I know you haven't been doing it as much, but make sure you we understand you're busy, but hey, every once in a while, Trey Tunes is on Twitch, talking sports and playing hits. Follow his channel, www.twitch.tv/Trey Tunes, and subscribe to his channel, and maybe he'll do a show one day.
Yeah, I got to do a show because there's people that do still subscribe, which is so funny. Because Will sent me a message like,
Will's gonna guilt trip.
Yeah, he's like, I subscribe to your channel even though you don't have any content. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
That's how you know we love you, Trey. Because I've got no problem supporting your cause, even if you're busy. Because I understand I'm busy. Oh, I forgot to play this video for Will. Damn, I could have played this for DLo too.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Forgot that this was in here. This is Will pushing a car or a Jeep. Then he pulls it back. This is Will. I know the video is kind of grainy. This is Will in a random parking lot pulling his Jeep, then pushing his Jeep because he saw a Bears player doing this and he was like, "Oh, that's ridiculous!" And look at him showing off. And then he stops because he's getting tired because he's kind of old. There he is, pushing the Jeep.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Never a dull moment with the Trey Tunes gang, the Ray's Juke Joint, the Scumbags, and everybody that tunes into Brags in the Stands here. And we sincerely appreciate all of those people. Again, I want to thank Zack Pearson from bearreport.com.
Awesome,
follow him at Zack with a K _Pearson for his Bears coverage. He'll be at training camp. He'll be at the games. Really good guy. had some drinks with him in London. Forgot to bust this picture out. This was us in London when the Bears took on the Raiders, getting drunk at the famous Three Kings pub. So the famous Three Kings pub.
You're gonna get a press pass one day, Braggs.
One day when I grow to be big and strong. But I'm still having fun doing what we're doing here, no doubt. And also, of course, thank you to DLo Brown, wrestling legend, current Impact announcer. There he is in the Impact Studios taking a picture with his Braggs in the Stand shirt, but can't thank him enough. Nation of Domination. That was actually one of my. I wanted to ask him if, who like if he could pick a Nation of Domination of Bears players, who would they be? But maybe we can save that question for the next time. Don't let me forget, Trey.
Okay,
that's a good question. Let him pick Bears players, his all-time favorite Bears players that he would have on the Nation of Domination. Because Steve Mongo McMichael was once on the Four Horsemen. So
yeah, that's true.
So there you go. Again, thank you, Zack Pearson. Thank you, DLo Brown. Thank you to everybody that tuned in, including you, Will. Becca John said the Trey Toon Show live weekday noon to 2 in 2021. Hey, quit giving the guy shit. No, that was not Bearlissimo in that picture. That was just another Bears fan in London. But Bearlissimo was with me because I slept with him that night. Another guy. That's true. I did. Hey, let you go Bearlissimo. But the guy had a sweet shirt, the 85 Bears, and then that's 85 Bears drawn on his shirt, 85 of them. So nice shirt. Yeah, very cool. So that wraps things up for tonight. Stay tuned. We'll have our live show this Saturday morning, talking all things Cubs, White Sox, Bears, whatever else comes to our head. What's that, Trey?
Oh shit!
Yeah, something like that. It is. It's Trey. It's Braggs in the Stands, Trey Tunes crossover all day long. Always love doing stuff with you, Trey. You're a good friend and a very talented podcaster, and I'm happy to share the floor with you. So, you. So, and you're an incredible dancer. Let's not forget that.
And I'm sorry, you're giving Leno way too much grief.
Trey, I love Trey. I do. I love Trey. I can't help it. So, the hits.
Hey, listen here, Sparkles. You're listening to the Trey Toon Show right here on Twitch. And if you're not, you're better than that. Get with the program. Take that. This is David Kaplan. Rock and roll, baby. The Trey Toon Show, one of my all-time favorites.
Bang.
Yeah, it was Sylvie's like, oh, you couldn't fit the shirt. And I'm like, come on, dude.
In 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, this is Sylvie from Waddle and Sylvie on ESPN 1000, and I'm busy right now. What am I busy with? I am listening and watching the Trey Toon Show. I gave him a t-shirt. It was a large. He doesn't fit in it, but we love him because he's the absolute best. So sit back and enjoy the Trey Toon Show.
What made him say that?
He's got to take his little pot shot. And then his partner, Waddle, he's the good guy. He always makes the joke about it. In 3, 2, 1.
Hey, this is Tom Waddle, worn out former Chicago Bears wide receiver, and you are listening to Greg Braggs in the Stands.
Short and sweet.
All right.
Makes a little joke about himself. Sylvie's got to come guns a-blazing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just who he is. All-time pizza man.
Yeah, Sylvie's, he's a Spitfire,
Right, yeah. I know that's just what he does.
Who he is.
Right.
That's who he is. He's one of those guys that you'd think you can pick on, but you'd actually want to have him next to you in a fight in the bar. He'd probably be a little scrappy.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
All right. Well, that wraps things up for tonight. Thank you again for everybody tuning in. Thank you to DLo Brown. Thank you to Zack Pearson. Thank you to Ray, our guy from Ray's Juke Joint. Thank you to Junior. Those guys brought it. That was awesome hearing them go off on some of the people in the chat and really bringing the passion. And so, again, we'll see you Saturday morning. Collector's Cave, Paul Canerco, 9:30 to 11:30 at 3434 South Halstead Street, Buffalo Wings and Rings, another live show for the Brags in the Stands.
Call me when you wake up, because I do have to work Friday night.
All right, I will keep you in the loop, and I might be banging on your door at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I just gotta make because I'll probably make it home around maybe 3.
All right, well, I'll keep an eye out for you, buddy. We'll have fun. Thank you. Great show. Will's giving us some love. Elise is giving us some love. 2 of my biggest haters giving me love. It's all love all day long. Appreciate you guys. Beck and John, shout out to you. Thank you guys.
Right.
We're wrapping things up. We'll see you Saturday morning. And always bear down.
Yeah.